like the fact that it didn't supply enough power for the drives to function.
Yeah, eSATA
It was therefore fucking pointless.
Yeah, eSATA was the most pointless connector ever to connect.
I was like, oh yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you modify the connector slightly, you're supplying 12 volts on it.
Yeah. What
do you mean it's a SATA connector?
Yeah. It was a great idea that was completely useless.
I was like, oh.
I mean, it was kind of helpful. Hello, by the way. It was kind of helpful if you had a 3.5-inch external drive, because that would have an external power brick anyway.
Sure, but that would also have FireWire 800.
Only if you bought an expensive one.
Or USB. That's the options it would come with.
Well, no, because it would be USB 2.
Yeah, but
in that era.
You'd have to unshuck it, partially plug it in, and then...
Well, I had a 3.5-inch hard drive enclosure that was USB 2 eSATA external power.
Oh, they actually made them with eSATA.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and as I say, I used that. However, again, the other problem is that again, just very, very few things had an eSATA port, and I think I've spent more time having external hard drives connected with a SATA wire just going through an empty PCI Express bracket than I have using eSATA itself. And also, like, by the time you've done the problem, eSATA cables were short and stuff like that, and I think 9 times out of 10 I was just like, why don't I just put this hard drive in the computer? But then, of course, I suppose you could argue there was a use for it if you wanted to use the drive on other computers as well. You know, because you could obviously carry the drive away and plug it into something else via USB or something. So, but yeah.
It was a bizarre format in my opinion.
Yes.
Made little sense.
USB 3 completely replaced it anyway. Hello everyone,
Yes.
Welcome to Two Guys Talk Tech. How's it going? Yes, all dreams fall down. You are interrupting something. I'm 12 hours late. I'm sorry for anyone who was up at whatever time. Well, no, at 3:45 in the AM. I accidentally scheduled the video wrong. That was not deliberate. Sorry. Yeah, I'm...
Although, imagine if things just used a 24-hour clock.
Yes.
Imagine if.
Yes. YouTube Studio, can you please just use a 24-hour clock? And also, America, can you please just use military time? Because it's a lot easier to read. Like, don't get me wrong, my desktop clock at home is not on 24 hours, because in the evening when I look at it and it says 9 o'clock, I know what fucking half of the day it is. I can look out the window and tell. However, when I'm scheduling stuff and things like that, 24 hours is much clearer.
I also thought you were talking about an analog clock face, just with 24 hours around it.
They probably exist. I'm sure they do.
I would imagine so, but just the fact that
it's just not something that really needs to exist. But also, I also appreciate the fact that I'm trying to cover what was clearly my own mistake as somehow being someone else's fault. So
it is somewhat, though, given the complete inability to, have 24-hour clock on there.
Yes. So, yes, to everyone who has been waiting 12 hours, including Thomas Alaskan, I'm very sorry.
Well.
Sorry, Aslaxen. I just called it. I got your name right, honestly. Also, hello Arnold G, Ben Laird, Sai, All Dreams, ZX Spectrum, all the usual guys. I see you all there as well.
At least you didn't call him Aslan.
Aslan. Why is the picture gone to 144p? Check, because you should be able to change. This is YouTube. Just set the quality on your end. Although that much being said, I was going to drop the quality slightly because we stream at 10 megabit and I need to drop that down to like 8 megabit because YouTube Studio complains.
It doesn't seem to actually have a problem with the video though.
No, however, like it says, the stream's current bitrate 10 meg is higher than the recommended bitrate.
Yeah, but also if you look at that,
it's still fine.
I'm also pretty certain they say somewhere that it's fine.
But yeah, also their recommended bitrate is probably 4.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh well. Let's see. Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, Quebec used the 24-hour clock, but all the Canadian provinces are 12-hour.
I thought Quebec was in Canada.
Caradog, how dare you go to a printer convention last week? It was a spreadsheet convention.
A printer convention.
Where were you last week?
Oh, yes, cover me in that toner.
Yeah, please go and change the waste toner card bin on the photocopier. Everyone's seen that one picture. So where were you last week?
London.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it did EveCon. We all met up in a place called the Oyster Shed that was right on the river.
Fair enough. Yeah, but wasn't there an Eve tournament going on, and that's what you guys were all gathering to watch or something?
It was a convenient excuse for a drinking session.
Okay, so it literally was just a drinking party for Eve nerds.
Basically, yes.
Fair enough.
Apparently, several of the people who were there spent more than £400 on alcohol in the evening.
Fair enough.
And I'm just like, oh no. That was not me.
Yeah.
Excluding my hotel, I think I spent £50.
Damn, bro. Yeah, that's doing all right then. Yeah. How was Teltac? On a scale of 1 to gazeboed, how sloshed was Teltac?
Motherly.
Fair enough.
He was expressing deep concern for his other inebriated humans.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Good for him. All right.
I did consume a shot that was. Hold on 1 second. I have to. It was significantly expensive. However, yes, a single shot that was £18.50.
Oh. Well, was it exotic or was it just Ponzi?
I will allow other people to be the judge of that.
Is it one of those things where someone's like, this is proper whiskey, and you're just like, I think JD tastes nice, so you're asking the wrong person here, you know? So. It
was vodka.
Okay.
Tequila.
Okay.
And Jaeger.
What, just in one shot?
In a glass, yes.
Oh, three shots.
Apparently it's a Jaeger bomb. Sorry, a Jaeger grenade.
A Jaeger grenade.
As opposed to a Jaeger bomb, it was a Jaeger grenade, where you replaced the energy drink with
more alcohol. Classy as heck.
Yeah, the person who bought them spent £72 on these 4 shots.
You're mad, or they're mad.
Absolutely.
I don't understand why you do that. I mean, I enjoy alcohol these days, but I've never understood spending hundreds of pounds in a night to get wasted. But then on the other hand, I'm a super lightweight for alcohol. It's not expensive to get me drunk, so
you are the cheap date.
Yes. Yeah. Like for me, just like one of those will get me sloshed. You know. So yeah. Right.
Yes. These are also people who all work in IT, so, you know.
Yeah.
£100,000 a year starting salaries in the room. And I'm just there like, aha.
Yeah. They don't have a girlfriend or kids because they play Eve.
They're all married. So. Like, most of them were married.
To each other. Yeah.
I couldn't comment. I don't know. But most of them were, and I was just like, okay. Very well.
Fair enough. Right. Because I weigh 3 grams. Yeah, you're right. That's probably it. Oh, well. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. So we're probably going to talk some tech. Just to explain what we've got going on in the background while we're chatting here. This is the P200. The eagle-eyed among you will spot that this is the P200 back up on the desk. With my mate's i5 4690K? Yeah, 4690K. So this is the platform that I pulled out of my mate John's PC that was giving him problems. I upgraded him to a Ryzen 3800X, and I've got his old stuff. I never actually charged him for that, so I'm just keeping his old stuff. So yeah, I've got the. I had a client, a kid came into the shop who wanted to buy a cheap gaming computer, and has expressed interest in purchasing this. So we're just going to bench test it today, and we're just going to check if this thing is ready to sell to someone, because like it runs and it works, and I'm like, okay, well, if I'm about to sell this to someone and put a 6-month warranty on it, I want to actually make sure it's good. So yeah, we're just basically just checking that it's all good. So we're just going to firm mark it and stuff like that, and then we'll probably just lob an SSD in there and actually do a clean install of Windows on it. So we're kind of just dicking around with stuff while we chat today. We're not doing any particular projects. We're just tinkering with stuff while we talk. So yeah, Fortnite PC. Rust, I think. They were talking about Rust. I understand that is a computer game that the kids these days like to play. And I believe that it's also a game where you 1v1 people. So yeah.
At the Sun. Oh wait, wrong game.
Yeah,
never mind.
I have no idea. Rust is I think it's a survival crafting game, right? Is Rust? Yeah, I think Rust is crafting survival. So yeah, I think that's what he's going to be playing. They're up from Roblox, thankfully. So yeah, very popular CPU for a good reason. Absolutely. And oh yeah, the thumb down counter, Sun Productive. Yeah. I guess I was going to talk about that because I don't have a massive opinion on that, but it's the thing that everyone's talking about.
However, I have a YouTube channel, therefore my opinion is more important.
Absolutely. So I guess we'll kick off some Heaven Benchmark and stuff. Let's see.
Extreme.
You bought it 2 weeks ago. Don't buy it. My understanding about games like Rust is they're fun if you have friends to play it with, basically.
Doesn't that describe 99.9% of games?
No, I disagree. There are plenty of games. There are plenty of games, and there are plenty of multiplayer games where you can just jump in and play it. And like, I know that it's everyone's punching bag these days, but Overwatch, you did not need friends to play Overwatch. Absolutely, you could play it with friends and have a really good time. But I solo queued most of my hours of Overwatch, and I had a really good time. Is it concerningly quiet? The fans on the graphics card do spin, don't they?
That makes an unhealthy noise.
Oh, does it? What kind of noise? I can't hear it.
A kind of
Is it coil
soft
wine?
rubbing noise.
I can't hear your soft rubbing noise. But yes, at the very least, yeah.
Yes. Anyway. It's a 960. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
When you initially mentioned selling it and then saying it was John's old parts, I thought it was his 2070, 2080 or something.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
You think I'd leave that lying around?
Well, not exactly, but just the fact of I wasn't really connecting two and two and just kind of then went.
Yes, he was running a 2070 Super combined with this platform.
Yes.
Which was the other reason why I'm like, my dude, we need to get you upgraded because you have a hilariously unbalanced computer right now. However, no, that does not have a 2070 Super in
That's fine. That's fine. It's all good.
But yes. I think Rust is one of those games where if you've got friends to play it with, it's a good time. But no, there are plenty of games. I've started playing Final Fantasy 14, and again, I'm just soloing through that. There's like one or two places in the game where and that's the thing. Like I've got to a section of the game where I need to go and run a dungeon, which requires joining a party. But a friend of mine who was twisting my arm into playing it, he said, "I'll come and do dungeons with you. However, if you really wanted to, you can actually talk to an NPC and have an NPC party run the dungeon with you, and the NPC players are specifically programmed to do the party function. So you will have a healer, a tank, a DPS, and so on, and they will actually do their jobs. And they have been.
The concern is when those people
they've been specifically tweaked to know how to run that dungeon. So in this MMORPG, you can just hire a computer party if you want to play an MMO, but you hate other people. So
my comment on that is, the problem becomes when those people are better at it than the 70 percentile of players.
Yeah. Although, well, Final Fantasy 14 is a good game and has a very healthy community. So yeah, I don't think that's an issue at the moment. But yeah, Final and 14 is ironic. Yeah. Well, for those of you who don't know, when Final Fantasy 1 was released, I can't remember what Square Enix were called Squaresoft, I think, back in the day, and they were on the verge of bankruptcy. Final Fantasy was literally their make or break game. If Final Fantasy did not succeed, then Squaresoft would have folded. That's why it was called Final Fantasy. It was literally their last shot. But it actually ended up being the series that literally saved and then remade them. So that's why it was called Final Fantasy, because it literally was going to be the final attempt. So yeah. Can you hide and let the NPCs win for you? I don't know, but you probably wouldn't. You wouldn't have to. 14 is a really good time. I'm not gonna go into too much of it because I haven't played that much of it yet. But from what I've played,
I haven't played that much of it. I'm only 45 hours in.
No, well, I'm like 10 hours in, and obviously 10 hours on an MMO is nothing. But I'm in far enough that I have sunk in a couple of evenings, and the evenings have just flashed by, and I've just been sitting there having a really good time. It's amazing how much that game respects your time. It's constantly giving you, it's the same old grinding fetch quests that MMOs have, but unlike World of Warcraft and other ones like that, it doesn't take 20 minutes to do a fetch quest. You'll do it. Quests take a couple of minutes to do, so you're constantly getting and completing and handing in quests, and you're constantly getting little rewards and constantly going, here's another piece of armor, here's another item, here's some more money, here's stuff. Just keep, it just, yeah, it I want to say that it doesn't challenge you, but it doesn't need to. The game has got challenges in it if you want to go and do them, but it just lets you sit and play. It's just like, it's for people who are like, I don't want to grind. I don't want to toil. I don't want to have a job. I just want to play the game and stab things. And that's what you do in Final Fantasy XIV. It's great. It just lets you play the game. But yeah.
My some knowledge of Final Fantasy XIV is that it's an MMO, and apparently Lalafell are a thing.
Lalafell. They are potatoes and everyone hates them. You dropkick Lalafell. Except for this one NPC who's a heckin' badass. But yeah. Anyway, enough about that.
That is my some knowledge of the existence of the finals and the fantasies.
Yeah. Anyway, what are they using for benchmarking again? This is Heaven benchmark, which is quite an old one, but it's still good, to be honest. It does.
I mean, it's also an old graphics card because it's a 960.
That's true. Yeah, it's period to the graphics card, but also Heaven is still it's an old reliable test. I don't think Heaven is any good for top end graphics cards anymore. For that, if you want to torment top end graphics cards, you run Superposition now, but which is the same studio.
And interestingly, apparently you run that at 8K.
Yeah, apparently 8K Superposition. It will run at like 4 FPS on a 3090, but it's also like this might actually kill your graphics card, so do not run it unattended, kind of thing.
Yeah,
which is a terrifying thought, but.
Something. Imagine if, NVIDIA power protections worked.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I talked on this. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, where we were talking about BuildZoid testing the 3090 and how just no one respects a card's TDP power limit. Yeah, TDP.
How NVIDIA does not actually.
Just power limits. Yeah,
correctly monitor, even though they have 94 bajillion shunt resistors.
Yeah, all of that monitoring, but nothing doing it. It's just like having a lot of security guards who just stand and watch people rob the shop. It's just like, are you guys going to stop this? They're robbing you, man. And they're just like, yes, we can see them doing that
in 8K. Yes.
Anyway, I think the other issue is, well, again, we're getting up. I don't know if we're talking about this as a topic now, but then it brings us back into the issue that I was a bit concerned about. That the issue that BuildZoid was talking about was on this 3090 was potentially one of the reasons why New World was killing certain 3090s was just the fact that it was capable of forcing them over their power limits, which was killing VRMs because the power protections were not were not cutting in to prevent that from occurring.
Because they were averages and things like that, as opposed to actual hard limits and things like that.
But then also, the argument was in place, the fact that it was just like, okay, but the card is only going like sort of 110, 112% power limit. And yeah, that's over power limit, but like when people are overclocking cards, they blow past the power limit all the time, because the first thing you do is drag the PL slider up to 120% when you're overclocking. So why is this a problem? But then the 3090 is pulling like 350 to 400 watts kind of thing.
It's also going to be a combination of the fact, obviously, when you start actually doing that, you're doing it generally much colder.
Oh yeah, from cold, yeah.
So obviously a case of you'll be doing it at minus something.
Yeah.
But also a case of it depends on kind of how much of the silicon is getting hit at once.
Yeah.
Because obviously if you somehow manage to render part of a frame that manages to hit 95% of the transistors in one go, that power profile is going to look completely different to a standard game that actually hits 20%, say, of the silicon at one go. It uses all of it through a rendering cycle, but at one time it's, say, 20% or 25%.
Yeah.
So it will look different, and the loads will look different, and so on. So
yeah,
I'm not saying it makes it acceptable, it's just a case of because different setup loads.
It's kind of that argument of, it's kind of like the peak versus sustained argument is a case of the graphics card has this peak number of transistors, but it doesn't actually want to use all of them at the same time constantly. So, and we work on the assumption that if you've got 1 billion transistors, you should be able to hit 1 billion transistors at the same time. But the 3090, it was either built or they have just simply not tested it on the assumption that you're actually going to hit all of them at the same time, which is how they're getting caught out.
Yeah, and a case that possibly the power delivery is now no longer up to spec.
Yeah, I mean,
it's possible that it is an issue that has been brought on by the component shortage, by the fact that different brands and different models of VRM components have had to be sourced and used.
Yeah.
And perhaps they have weird interactions.
Yeah.
Or perhaps they simply weren't up to the standard that the manufacturer said they were because they're from a C-tier manufacturer.
Yeah, Chris S. said that how EVGA blamed soldering on the MOSFETs for the problem. So it might be that they were using MOSFETs that they are not usually using, so the manufacturing hadn't had quite as much testing as it normally would have, which tallies into what you're talking about.
Exactly. So it's a case of it's certainly not an excuse, but possibly a bit of a reason as to why we're seeing it happen.
Yeah.
Also, at the same time, as far as I'm aware, the reports we've had is fewer than 100 cards killed, is the numbers I've seen. So, as a percentage of total products sold, that's still probably less than 0.1%.
Yeah, I think it's just sort of fairly high profile just because the kind of cards that are dying are the most expensive cards money can buy.
Absolutely.
And so, and obviously they're not only are they very expensive, but they're extremely difficult to replace. Like, I mean, EVGA obviously were total bros and were just like, here's a new card. But if you don't have Bro GA at your back, then you're kind of up the creek without a paddle. Because if you're lucky, you'll get your money back, and then you'll have to find another 3080 or 3090 partner card.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit sketchy, but yeah. To answer the question though, to answer the question about what benchmarks to use, yeah, I mean again, Superposition and Fermark are good gaming benchmarks.
Wow. They are not gaming benchmarks.
Okay, yes, no, that's fair. They're graphical benchmarks.
Yes. Yes.
So
I would contend it depends on what you're benchmarking for.
Yeah.
If you're benchmarking to see if component changes have led to a performance change, pick the game you play, benchmark it using the inbuilt benchmark, a predefined sequence in the game, something like that. Change the thing you want to change and make sure it's only that thing that has changed. Rerun the benchmark, right result.
Yeah.
Rerun the benchmark again, right result.
Yeah.
Rerun the benchmark again, write down the result.
Yeah, because
then reset it and confirm it wasn't just placebo or fluke. Because then you actually know if you gained performance or changed performance.
Yeah.
Because the 99% of people who are like, I gained 15% performance by doing X. You actually didn't. You ran a single test and had really weird run-to-run variance. Because actually you've got a bajillion items of shite running in your computer.
Your sample size was small, your standard deviations were high, your answers mean nothing, and you should feel bad.
That's amazing, and I need a t-shirt of it.
It's a Zoidberg picture somewhere.
Oh, I require that on a t-shirt.
I'm gonna find it right now while hang on a sec. Zoidberg, your test.
Your test.
Your testing or something like that.
I'll just.
There it is. Hang on a sec. Let me just break this out so I can share it.
No, you're mean.
Okay, this is potato size, but I will make it big and then screen share. Have I got a? Where's my? Oh balls. Okay, display capture.
Something. I thought you were setting this up again.
Yeah. There we go. Your sample sizes are small. Your standard deviations are high. Your conclusion means nothing, and you should feel bad. So, basically that.
Absolutely, indeed.
Anyway.
Yes.
I'm impressed that I remembered it that well.
Congratulations, A+, 10 out of 10.
Yep. However, yeah, it's Furmark, for example. Furmark. Yeah, Heaven is really good for testing graphics. It's a good overclocking test for doing dirty overclocks. However, it's worth noting that Heaven doesn't even scratch the CPU. You can, while we were running Heaven just then, and we were sitting at like 45, 48 FPS, the CPU was probably at like 10%. You know, so that's why this is not a gaming benchmark, because it doesn't touch the CPU at all. Basically,
I just turn that all to potato.
Yeah.
I just want to see what it looks like effectively on potato.
Yeah. See, here's an interesting thing, Jason. Jason says, EVGA said a few cards had bad soldering, but the game has crack coding causing the issue. Well, this is the thing, is that this is the argument that Buildzoid from Actually Hardcore Overclocking was saying. He was saying people are blaming New World for being badly optimized, but no, it's literally the opposite. The definition of good optimization is being able to maximize the use of the hardware you have. And New World is able to utilize the entire GPU, which is literally the problem. It's too well optimized. Also, is that some mad coil wine I just heard?
It's kind of gently fizzing.
No, that's mad coil wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the noise.
Oh, that makes me really sad if I sell that graphics card now, because I actually want a graphics card with coil wine so I can experiment with seeing how to fix it. You're going to cover it
in hot glue.
Yeah, basically. I actually hope the kid doesn't come back in for this now, because if that graphics card has coil wine, I'm suddenly very, very interested in making a video about that.
It's fine. I'm sure Chris can find you another 962GB for 85p.
Probably. Yeah. Chris, have you got any graphics cards with coil wine? Because I want one. So yeah, because basically I want to experiment. I want to try, because every now and then someone will send me a message saying my graphics card has mad coil wine. What can I do about it? And I'm like,
headphones.
Yeah. So I'm like, can you hot snot the inductors? Can you replace the inductors? Can you just reflow the inductors and just have them so they're just sticking off the board ever so slightly? You know. There's lots of ideas of things you could do about this, but I don't know if what does it actually take to fix coil wine. That's the thing.
Also, really stupid question: is it actually the coils that are whining?
I'm fairly certain it's the coils. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think on account that it can't be anything else. So yeah, I'm fairly certain it is actually the coils or inductor. Coil, inductor, choke, all the same thing. So yeah, I try to use the term inductor because that is inductor is the modern electro engineering term for it. Coil is a nickname and choke is an obsolete term. It used to be called a choke. These days it's called a inductor. So yeah. But yes, it's optimized but should have limits. It's not the game's job to make sure that it doesn't go over the graphics card's power limit.
Yeah. It's literally Nvidia's job.
Yeah, it is the driver and it's the graphics cards, BIOS, and drivers. It's their job to make sure they don't go over the power limit. You know,
it's obviously also a case of the card manufacturer's job to make sure the card can actually survive the power that it says it can.
Yeah.
Because obviously if they say,
this
is a 500 watt capable VRM, and the GPU asks for 500 watts and then dies, that's a problem.
Just because someone is utilizing your graphics card in a way that has not previously been seen doesn't mean they're doing it wrong. You know, it is not the game's job to stay under power limit. So if you're getting any buffering, just set your stream to 720p or something like that. You should be able to set the stream quality in the bottom right of the screen. Does
this have mounts for 140mm fans?
We are streaming at 10 megabit. So if your internet is a little bit potato, you might get buffering. So yes, not every game should be FurMark. But again, it's not the game's job. But yes, at any rate, benchmarking, Heaven, Superposition, FurMark, these are good testing programs. Then
FurMark is not good if you're looking for FPS numbers.
No, that is true. FurMark is good for thermal testing though.
Yeah.
Because FurMark will make your graphics card heat up.
Stick anything else on this?
Then you can use Linpack, either the command line tool that we've got here, or just
you can't use Intel burn test on anything modern.
No,
because its cycles are too short.
Yeah, Intel burn test is too short now. On older stuff, Intel burn test is a really good front end for Linpack. But these days, like modern Intel CPUs can cycle Linpack in like 3 or 5 seconds, and that means that the cycles are the CPU it does spikes like that. Whereas in the old days, you know, the cycle used to be like 30 seconds long, so you get 30 seconds of 100%, then a blip, you know. But nowadays it just blips and it doesn't work. So Ada 64, that'll work as well to stress test your CPU. And then if you're a mad lad, you run like FurMark and Linpack at the same time to hit everything at full tilt. Yeah, Cinebench is a good one as well.
Cinebench is not a good stability test.
No.
Or anything like that. It is a performance metric.
Yeah.
Because Cinebench will run on hilariously unstable memory timings.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't care about memory.
Cinebench is a good confidence test for a computer though as well. Like if you're not overclocking, if you're just running at stock speeds and Cinebench is sitting there cycling quite happily, that's a good confidence check that this PC seems to be okay, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you remember what the max boost clocks are for this? For this CPU?
No, hang on a sec, I shall check.
Because we're only getting like 3.9.
That's probably it.
And that feels kind of low.
It's a 2014 CPU. I doubt it's breaking 4 gigahertz.
It to be like 4.5.
No, hang on a sec. i5
because they've always had
4690K.
Silly high boosts, haven't they?
Arc. Up to 3.9.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. No, the big boost didn't come.
What was the 4770 then?
4770. Yeah, the i7 could probably break 4 gigahertz. i7 4770K.
Yeah.
Arc. Let's see. No, that was 3.9 as well. The 4790K was probably the one that broke the 4 gigahertz mark.
Huh. Very well.
Let's see. Up to 4.4. Holy shit! No wonder the 4790K was such a big deal. Yeah. It was a full 500 megahertz faster than the 4770K. Wow! Today I learned, because I knew that there was a 4770K and then the 4790K.
Yeah.
And I always assumed that the 4790K being the refresh was just a token gesture. You know, it was a couple hundred megahertz faster or something. It's like, no, it's a full 500 megahertz faster. So yeah, that's why the 4790K was obviously such a coveted one, because that was like, short of going to anything exotic, that is the fastest Haswell CPU and arguably the fastest DDR3 CPU. short of anything exotic. Because like
because 6th gen went to DDR4.
DDR4, yeah, and like
it's supported DDR3, but
no one was running DDR3 on Skylake, yeah. Well, on an interesting note, actually, though, I wanted to talk about this. Is that last week Alder Lake had just come out, and I was, we'd seen the benchmarks, and Alder Lake looks really good for performance. It's a really good launch. However, I commented that I reckoned that some of its high performance looked like it was in thanks to being on DDR5. However, the tests are all in now. Alder Lake is just genuinely really quick. DDR4 versus DDR5 on Alder Lake makes, in the majority of cases, no meaningful difference. And Windows 10 versus Windows 11 also makes no meaningful difference.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3% either way, and it swings between tests.
Yeah, and I was like, which means I was completely wrong, because I thought that the Windows 11 scheduler and that DDR5 would have been helping it, which is not to diminish, not to disparage Alder Lake. It was a case of, well, if you've built a CPU that can utilize these things, then that makes you better.
Yeah.
However, it makes me incredibly happy that Alder Lake is still really good on DDR4 and on Windows 10, because that means it's just genuinely a really good CPU.
Yeah.
Which is great news, because competition and all that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm very happy to be wrong. I'm also very happy because one of the big reasons why I was sort of going, not saying that I wouldn't recommend Alder Lake, but the big thing that was making me go, yeah, but I wouldn't buy it, was just simply because DDR5 is expensive and hard to find. But the thing is that this actually means that and initially my first thought was like, yeah, but who wants to buy Alder Lake on DDR4? Who wants to buy into the old DDR4 platform? But the thing is, it actually makes a lot of sense, because you can buy a perfectly fit for purpose DDR4 motherboard for Alder Lake. You can run the existing decent 16 or 32 gig DDR4 kit you've got, and that makes Alder Lake, affordable. It makes it current gen pricing. It means you're not paying that premium for it. And the next time you upgrade will be by the time when DDR5 has started to mature anyway. So, because like my thought of it is, because there were some people saying, so, oh yeah, but you can get DDR4 motherboards. And I'm like, oh yeah, but who wants to run that? Because you know, when you upgrade to DDR5, you're going to have to replace your motherboard. But the thing is, when you do that, you're going to be upgrading to like 14th gen or something like that. So
assuming the usual upgrade cycle is sort of 4-ish years.
Yeah, everyone skips a generation. Yeah, everyone skips at least one or two generations. So it actually makes complete sense if you're upgrading right now, because let's say you've got Skylake, you've got 6th or 7th gen Intel, maybe even 8th gen Intel, and you've got the itch to upgrade, but you've got a really nice DDR4 kit that you've bought because DDR4 was matured, and you bought I've got a 32 gig kit in my computer at home. I wouldn't want to upgrade to DDR5 right now. It's entirely legit to buy an Alder Lake CPU and a DDR4 motherboard and stick your DDR4 kit in there, and then continue to run that for another 2 or 3 years, and then upgrade to DDR5 with a new CPU, motherboard, and RAM. That's completely legit, and that makes in complete financial sense right now.
I think the issue is the fact that, as far as I'm aware, the only one that's actually come out in consumer space is a single MSI board so far.
Yeah, that's the only catch.
It's a case that there is a singular MSI board that has DDR4 that has launched so far.
Yeah, and it's a no frills board. It's not a bad.
It costs $200.
Yeah, but it is Z690, so you get it's the Z690 chipset. But again, it's mediocre. But then that's the case. All the Z690 boards that are $200 or less are mediocre. Even the DDR5 ones. Like if you look at any Z690 motherboard that costs $200 or less, is mediocre. So it is priced appropriately. But then on the flip side, again, if I'm saying that running DDR4 makes Alder Lake affordable, you're still paying a premium for the motherboard, because
absolutely.
So yeah, you're going to have to if you were doing. So again, it depends on how much you want an exotic motherboard. If you want a really nice MOBO, then you might not be able to find a DDR4 one.
Yeah. It's also a case to a degree that it's kind of expected that they're going to be around that price.
Yeah.
Because of all of the high-speed connectivity that's built into them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's PCIe Gen 5 support, because there is a plethora of USB 3, high-speed USB 3.
I think
because there is inbuilt Thunderbolt, because there is 2.5 gig LAN built in, because there is Wi-Fi 6E built in, all of that stuff, because that's all built into the boards and so on.
Yeah.
Those have a cost, and the boards are going to cost money.
Yeah.
Because of that.
When X570 came out, I whinged at the price of X570. However, I did come around to the fact of, yeah, it's expensive, but that's just because it can't, the requirements that we're asking for are expensive now.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a matter of, yes, it costs more, but that's just because the technology has advanced to the point where that's how much computing costs.
Yeah.
Again, the 8-layer motherboards are a thing, and 8 layers of copper, that costs money. That is going to make your board cost more.
I think the only problem
it's just materials cost
we had was the fact that we had a generation where the top end motherboards, or we've had several generations where the top end chipset motherboards, there were cheap ones that were actually cheap, and it set the idea in motion that was going to be possible. Obviously, as we added in more and more connectivity methods into the boards, those boards are going to go up in price.
Yeah.
As long as the whatever the tier below Z690 becomes, whether that is H690 or C690 or P690 or Q690 or whichever letter they decide to choose, the tier below that, as long as it still offers good motherboards, but with fewer of the expensive...
I'm having a drink.
But fewer of the expensive connectivity options, so dumps PCIe 5, say, drops some of the USB stuff.
Yeah. If we take historical stuff as an example as well, like X470, we did this last time, so don't look at me like that.
It's more, blah, 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 faffing, blah, blah, blah.
What's worse than fumbling with something? Watching someone else fumble with something. So, X470, you could buy X470 motherboards for, £100, $100.
The problem... And X470 is a really poor example because so many of the motherboards were garbage tier, even at the top end.
Yeah, but bear with me here, because that's not what the example is going to be about. But the point is, I'll pick it up later.
Will you? Will you really?
It's toward the bin is over there. Anyway, X470, you could buy X470 motherboards for like £100, $100. Pounds, dollars, although the pound is worth more than the dollar, because stuff is cheaper in America, it ends up being about the same. So,
also
now
tax.
Yeah. So that £100 motherboard would be stripped out. They would have stripped out all the good audio. They would have stripped out all the toys. It wouldn't have RGB. It would have lesser VRM. It would, anything that they could take off the board, they would take off. But the problem is then when we moved up to X570, because the requirements for X570 is a VRM that can do X amount of watts, the requirements for X570 is that it has to be able to have PCIe Gen 4, which obviously requires all that extra wiring and shielding. And again, the requirements for X570 is they are expecting it to run memory up to a certain speed, which means all of the memory lanes need to be beefed up. And the problem is you can't strip that out of a cheap board. It has to be there. You can strip out the RAM, the audio. You can strip out all the RGB stuff. You can take off all the toys, but you can't take out the requirements of the platform.
Yeah.
And that's why the boards go up in price, because you can't take those new requirements out of them to make a cheap board. So yeah, that is why the increasing cost of motherboards is something that we have to accept. But by the same token, people also need to remember that it's not the end of the world not to own the flagship chipset. On AMD, if you don't want to stomach the cost of Z5 of X570, then buy B550.
There are lots of good B550.
There are lots of good B550 motherboards.
B550 motherboards.
That's right.
Words are hard.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people are just like, oh, but I want an X570. I want the flagship chipset, and it's like, B550 is fine. You don't, absolutely. The X570 motherboard will probably give you better USB options. B550 boards have a nasty habit of having like 4 USB 2 ports on the back, which is like, really? However, 9 times out of 10, you don't need them all to be USB 3 anyway. We're just being stingy. So it's not really a problem. So, and that's the thing, is just, I think people sometimes need to accept that they don't need to own the top-end product. Mid-range is good enough. And for gaming, mid-range is probably more than what you need. So, yeah. But, moving back to the chat. Ooh, sorry. I've been ignoring chat a little bit, so sorry. But something that came up in the chat that I'm just going to quickly cover. I need to scroll back a bit to find it. Hang on a sec. Where was the chap who said, Asphalt Rising, long-time watcher, first-time question. What's up, my dude? How's it going? What's your strategy for malware on customer laptops? Do you use all the removal tools, or do you just wipe? I use removal tools most of the time. With a bit of care and patience, you can salvage a Windows installation that's infected. If you go in, starting... I don't actually see malware infections very often these days because Windows 10 and Windows Defender work, basically. However, when I do see it, usually a combination of Malwarebytes anti-malware and Hitman Pro will usually clear off 99% of what ails you. And the rest of it, I go through and I will just go through the startup entries in scheduled tasks and in the run folders in the registry manually. And you'll be able to get rid of most of the other junk or any other wanted stuff. And 9 times out of 10, that will salvage a wrecked Windows install. So I usually do that. If the customer is just like, if it's like some kid's gaming computer and it's got nothing on it other than games, I would probably say we're reinstalling Windows because they just download the games again. Yeah. But most of the time, most of the computers that I see for repair are just some person's laptop, which has got all of their personal stuff on it. It's got Microsoft Office on it, and they have no idea what their Office details or product code or anything like that are. And it's got a bunch of other stuff installed that will be a pain in the ass to reinstall. And everyone always says, "Oh, just reinstall Windows." It's from a customer convenience standpoint, that is a terrible option. Yeah. And it might be your last resort, and it might be what you have to resort to, but I always treat it as a last resort. If I can save the Windows install, then I will.
Yeah. The other thing as well is double checking which browsers are installed, making sure they haven't got weird development builds of Chromium or like Firefox installed.
Man,
that there aren't weird extensions on them. Like that one laptop last week or the week before, where you're like 76 extensions later. Oh god,
yeah. Yeah, there was a laptop in and it had literally pages of extensions on Chrome. And I'm just like, what? So...
Yes? Can I help you?
So, yeah. And yeah, I got roasted in the comments for saying that there's no legitimate reason to have Chromium on a device, but I still say that
there's no legitimate reason for an end user to have Chromium.
Yeah, average Joe public shouldn't have Chromium on their device, and if they do, it's probably been installed by someone who's trying to avoid security. So yeah. So yes. That thing with extensions was done on purpose. No, the customer was just an idiot and just clicks on everything, and you install one extension, and then that extension installs 5 other extensions.
Pretty sure at least 2 of them were flagged by Chrome as known to contain malware.
And I'm just like
2 of them.
Yeah. Ugh. What's up, Noah? I'm sorry to hear you got a migraine. I hope our voices are soothing to you.
Yes, good afternoon.
But yeah.
This is now an ASMR stream. It is.
Yeah, okay, right. I have not been keeping up with chat, so I'm literally just going to read the bottom half of chat now. So sorry if I've missed anything. Now having a John Smith. Cheers, boys. I'm not. I've never had John Smith's actually. I don't know if John Smith's is nice or not. If that's your jam though, then cheers. So yeah. Are you a dev? No, then no Chromium. Pretty much that. I mean, there are some privacy nerds that are like, Chromium doesn't install all of the Google spyware, and I'm just like, if you don't, I feel like there are better solutions to that. You know,
Firefox.
Yeah, you know, Firefox or there's Firefox. Yeah, and also just. To be honest, as soon as someone starts banging on about spyware and Google spying, my eyes kind of gloss over anyway. Yes, I know it's a thing. The ship has sailed, I don't care.
Who are we shipping now?
Yeah. Windows 11 uptake is poor. Yeah. I still don't care about Windows 11. There's still...
not particularly.
But I think Alder Lake was one of those things where I'm just like, this is one of the times where I kind of hoped that Alder Lake was going to show much stronger performance on Windows 11, because even though I don't have an Alder Lake CPU, it would show a reason as to why Windows 11 had new technology that was worth upgrading to.
Apparently, that's going to be more demonstrable with battery life and stuff on devices, because the scheduler will actually know to shove stuff onto the e-cores.
That's true, yeah.
So that's the kind of almost the last bastion of relevance.
Yeah,
that conversation.
I'm very excited for Alder Lake Mobile. I'm very annoyed that unless I just haven't been looking. I mean, I haven't been looking, but I have not heard of anyone who's actually been running efficiency tests on Alder Lake to say, okay, I'm sitting here watching a YouTube video. How much power is the computer using? Is Alder Lake using significantly less power because of the efficiency cores? Because at the moment, like a lot of people, at the moment, a decent person might just say, why the fuck does a desktop computer have efficiency cores? You know? So, yeah. And that would be missing the point. But at the same time, no one has actually demonstrated why you would want efficiency cores yet.
Because they're physically smaller.
I suppose, yeah, so you can fit more of them onto it.
Because they're physically smaller, so you can have... I think the comment from Intel was so there could be 4 of them per performance core. So you can fit 4 in the area of the performance core. So then the core doesn't blow out.
Yeah.
So you can have more cores.
It's enabled them to increase their core count. Yeah, that does also make sense.
As a very blunt instrument, it's a case of because they're physically smaller.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
I'd be interested to see effectively just a pure efficiency core CPU. So on that side, as to whether that would actually be something that would be offering sufficient performance for general desktop use.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like the new computers the new builds that I've got on sale, they've still got Windows 10 on them, and I'm like, I suppose I should put Windows 11 on them because I can, but I don't know. And like again, I haven't upgraded to Windows 11 at home. I still haven't upgraded the laptop that I said I was going to do a month ago, and I still don't care about Windows 11. I still have not been given any reason to care about Windows 11. What's happened? Oh, is it just
just that performance? You see that there?
Yeah.
That's a laptop part that uses 15 watts.
Oof.
It's faster.
Yeah. I mean, in his defense, it's also 6 generations newer.
Yes, but the case of we're saying that
generational improvement.
Stuff is so inefficient. Blah 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 blah. Well, yeah, but you look at the flip side. You look at the performance to power there. That's pretty hefty.
Pure efficiency core, Intel Atom. Get out. You can leave now. You can leave now.
I don't know what efficiency you're inferring there, but I feel it's lacking either way.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for a good reason to upgrade to Windows 11. That's it, basically. And I take no pleasure in that. It's the first time that I have not cared about a new version of Windows. like, I cared about Windows Vista. I skipped past Vista, and I skipped past Windows 8, but I understood the reason why you'd want to upgrade to them. I just skipped past them myself. But 11, I don't know why it exists.
Yeah.
I just don't know why. I mean, I know why it exists. I know the OEMs want a new number. We all know. We all know that the reason why it exists is that the OEMs want a new number to sell. But past that, I don't know why it exists. You know, just you could have just said it was Windows 10 2022 edition, you know, and given it a new skin. I just whatever. Rounded corners are missing out. I like the rounded corners. I do like how Windows 11 looks. I love the new skin, but I don't like the start menu, and I don't like the context menu, and I don't like a bunch of other quality of life things that I lose out by going to Windows 11. And I don't understand why I would want to ditch all of that and change the way I use my computer just for a new look.
Oh, indeed.
That's the thing.
Although I feel like
it doesn't bring anything else to it doesn't bring a new version of DirectX. The new CPU schedule is completely irrelevant at the moment.
Yeah.
Although as all the latest
feel
proven.
that this is the wrong audience to a degree, because we don't. Well, certainly the two of us maintain a minimum standard of quality in every device that we own and choose to interact with.
Yes.
And Windows 11 is affecting that part of the market far more.
Yeah, Windows 11 is enforcing that quality, isn't it?
And to us, it makes zero difference because that level of quality is so far below the level that we would feel comfortable selling to someone anyway. It actually makes no difference to us.
Yeah.
So
I wonder.
I feel like to a degree that's why we care a lot less.
Yeah, I'm almost tempted. I don't think I will, because I would have had to prepare this. But what would have been awesome is if I picked out a random computer, a random laptop from the repair queue with Windows 10 on it, booted it, found one that doesn't show any obvious customer details when starting it up, just so I could show people this is what the average person's computer looks like on the desktop. And you'll see it's just icons everywhere. Click on the start menu and it's just a random array of tiles all everywhere with no sense to the layout or what is there.
Yeah.
And just toolbars that are in the wrong place and a million icons in the bottom right that would stick out to here if you didn't hide them.
Yeah.
And just like...
It's fixing those problems.
That's the problem that Windows 10 has. But all of us, we've all tuned all of that out. We tidy our desktop icons. We tidy our start menu. We get rid of programs that we don't need running in the background.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't see the point of Windows 11, because Windows 11 is enforcing a level of tidiness that I already do anyway.
It's also the
you've actually made a really good point there.
It's also the case of, don't forget that a large amount of the general public software add stuff to the right-click context menu. So I've seen devices where the context menu is the height of the screen because of all of the third-party stuff on there. Because there was Nero, then there was the other version of Nero. Because there was that other DVD burning software. Because there was that other DVD playback software.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got that full screen of a context menu.
WinZip, 7-zip, WinRAR.
Yeah.
Scan this with AVG, scan this with Malwarebytes, scan this with the all on the same computer.
Scan to email, other scan to email program, scan to fax machine, you know.
Yeah.
All of those options.
That's why they changed the context menu.
That's the problem it's fixing.
Yeah.
And because we instinctively fix those problems anyway, we see that, we go, that's a problem, that needs fixing. We were undoing that mess to get to what is effectively the Windows 11 contextual menu.
Yeah, you're bang on the money.
So,
because I've always said to customers, like when I build a computer or when I buy in a laptop for a customer, one of the things I say to them is, you know, like I say to the customer, you're paying the cost of the computer plus my £50 flat fee. So you could get this computer for £50 cheaper by going to the Dell website and buying it yourself. And if you want to go and do that, and I won't be offended. However, what you're doing when you buy it from me is that I transfer your data and all the rest of it, but I say I do a vanilla install of Windows, which means you get the pure Windows experience with none of the bloat and none of the junk preloaded. And that's the thing is, I take all of that for granted, but you're bang on the money. The vast majority of people don't see vanilla Windows. They see Windows filled with junk. And Windows 11, I'm going, stop hiding all of this stuff from me, Windows 11. But that's actually what they're fixing, because most computers need all of that stuff to be hidden. So yeah you're right. You're bang on the money. That's why. So you're right. It's Windows 11 isn't for me.
Yeah. It is fixing problems.
It is fixing a problem that I don't have.
That you personally don't have.
Yeah.
But your job is to fix. If that makes sense to a degree. You are fixing that problem for people.
Yeah. What's up, Harry Gonting? I see you there.
So yes.
Yeah.
You are fixing that problem for users, but there are lots and lots of users who don't have a you to fix it for them.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's kind of why.
That's a very interesting point. And that's actually changed my world at this point. I legitimately had not thought of it from this perspective.
Because it's turning the horrid botched Windows 10 install that is the generalized mass install to what the default Windows 10 install is.
And this doesn't suddenly make me go, oh, I'm going to install Windows 11 on all of my stuff now. This doesn't make me want Windows 11 anymore, but now I understand why how Windows 11 actually helps the end user.
Yeah.
This actually makes me go, okay, now this is a selling point of Windows 11 as far as I'm concerned. Now, it's a selling point for the wrong reason, because, of course, all of this stuff that we're saying that it fixes, that's a problem that people shouldn't be having in the first place. But it's a problem that exists.
But the thing to a degree, Microsoft can't fix that problem.
Exactly. It's very easy to say that's a problem that shouldn't exist, but that's also completely moot. Just because a problem shouldn't exist, that doesn't stop it from existing.
Yeah.
People should not have computers filled with junkware, but they do. That's just how it be. Yeah. So that has actually changed my world.
And it's the point. I think the bit that has made the problem is the fact that the issues, or the contextual manual, for example, can't easily be toggled. Or not necessarily. Well, there isn't a UI option to toggle it.
No,
but there's a registry option.
Yeah.
So for the people who aren't in the problem of having a contextual manual that's a complete mess, can just regedit it.
Yeah.
So the people who are able to can. It's like with the start menu to a degree. I feel like that should be regeditable. Yeah. And like moving the taskbar around should be regeditable. It should not have a UI option, but having registry options, absolutely. Because the people who can use the registry
will do it.
Everyone else doesn't know or care.
Yeah. This does make me feel better about potentially running Windows 11 on my stuff now, because the problem is that for me, one of the reasons why I really this isn't intended to disparage the person, but there was a chap in the Discord who said the other day, oh, Windows 8.1 was fine, I just installed Classic Shell on it. And I'm like, so yeah, it's fine. All you have to do is install a third-party app that completely changes how the UI works.
Yeah.
So it wasn't fine, was it? And that's the thing. And I didn't want to install and people are like, oh yeah, install Windows 11 and then just do this to change the context menu and this to change the start menu. I'm like, what? So you mean just change all the things that make it Windows 11? So why are you even bothering to run Windows 11? But the thing is, I think what I was trying to rationalize was I didn't want to change something without understanding why that thing existed in the first place. Now, the Windows 8 full screen start menu, I still contend that is dumb and stupid. But whatever, that's in the past now. The Windows 11 start menu and context menu, I actually feel better about customizing that. Now I understand the reason for them to exist.
There was nothing wrong with the Charms bar.
There was. I'm not sure if you're joking or not.
I never had any of the problems you had with it. I was never subjected to using it on a potato.
Noel Dowd asks, what do I think about the Framework laptop? Well, I'm going to check the price of it because I do like the Framework laptop.
My problem with it is still the price.
Yeah, I'm not about to buy one. It starts at $1,000. I want to talk about the Framework laptop because I don't want to talk about this anymore. So...
Because you have no argument, because you know I'm right.
Say what you will, I'm above provocation. Get wrecked. So, I don't know. Let me reorder some things here. Let's look at the Framework laptop. I like the Framework laptop. I think it's very cool, and I really want one, but I don't need one. However, let's say I wanted to buy one. How much does a Framework laptop cost? So base model, an i5, cool, fair enough. i5, so what that, up to 4.2 gigahertz, that's pretty swish. It's got what, Wi-Fi, oh, it doesn't, what Wi-Fi do you get as standard then?
None.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to have to spec this then. Yes, I do want my laptop to have wireless. Okay, but then I am buying the kit version here.
You'll probably want the other one, which is the non-V Pro. Because that's the wireless with V Pro, and then that's the non-V Pro one.
Okay, let's get
which
the
then means you don't need the 11 whatever. Scroll up to the top.
Oh, yeah.
Just double check you still got the i5.
Yeah, we're on the i5, yeah. Cool. Okay, so if I was to do that, hang on a sec, I'm going to move us over to the left because we're very in the way at the moment. There we go.
You did it.
So storage, wow, that's those are WD Blacks. They don't have a full-man storage.
They're SN850s.
Yeah.
And well, there's a 1 terabyte SN750. Oh, and a 500 gig one, which is $80.
Yeah, that's more. Oh, come on, $80 for 500 gigs. You know what? Fine. That's good enough for That's good enough for an example. I would bring my own, and I'd lob a Crucial P2 in there because it's a laptop. Who cares? You know. But $80 for the SSD, fine. Okay. Let's see. Operating system. I'm gonna bring my own because I ain't paying $140 for Windows. Good grief. I feel like that shouldn't cost that much, but whatever. Memory, I'm going to want... Let's say we're going to put in 16 gigs. So, fine, 80... Oh, blimey, yeah, it's adding up. It starts at like $700 or $800, and you're like, oh, come on, that's not so bad. But now I'm actually adding in all the stuff. Okay, where are we up to then? How do I... Where's the total?
At the bottom, in the big black bar at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Says the price.
Yeah. Okay, hang on a sec. That's actually off screen.
Oh, because you're screen capturing.
Yeah, I'm screen capping because I'm a baddie. So, yeah. Estimated price, $926. So, it's... Let's call it $900. It's probably $950 shipped or something like that. So let's call it $950. So it's $950 for an i5 laptop with 16 gigs of RAM. So, it's that, yeah. What does that cost from Dell? Now, I'm devil's advocate. I know that the Dell laptop is not in the same category here, but hypothetically. 11th Gen i5. Screen specs. The screen is good, I think. I don't know what's... Not sure. It'll be a decent screen. It looks like it's a 16 by 10 or a 4 by 3.
If you click next, what info does that give you?
Next. Oh my god, you got to pay... Oh god, the charger costs extra. Fine. I feel like that should be included by default and with the option to remove it. I feel like I'm getting nickel and dimed here, I'm not going to lie. But then I have selected a kit laptop, so
you're selecting the kit version.
Yep. No. Okay. Yep. I've selected the kit version. That's what happens when you select kit. If you want this stuff as standard, you buy the pre-built. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. So it's $975. Okay. Oh, you have no expansion. Okay. Right. So I don't need extra storage. Let's see. I'm gonna want. I don't use an SD card, but I think it's reasonable to buy a laptop that has an SD card reader. So I'm gonna add that into the cost. So I could save money by ditching this, but I'll add it in because I think that's reasonable. I'm gonna want a USB Type A. I'm gonna want a USB Type C, and I'm gonna want HDMI. That's what I would expect to find on a modern laptop. A single Type A port is cutting it fine, but sure. Oof. Yeah, okay. Right, so it's actually more like $10.50. Okay, you get free shipping, so it's $1,031. $1,031. Okay, so what would it cost for me to get something like this from Dell? Now, again, I recognize what the framework laptop really is. So comparing it versus Dell is not fair, but we have to accept the fact of if we're saying, if I want to buy a new laptop and I've got a choice, how much am I paying in order to have the organic laptop, the farm fresh, vegan friendly, doesn't harm the environment, is fully repairable? How much am I paying for that really?
How much does a laptop harm a vegan?
You know what I mean? You know, how much are we paying for it to be a framework laptop and not a Dell? You know, that's the real question here. Nope, no GPU. Integrated graphics. Inspiron.
It's a thin and light laptop.
So is a modern Inspiron.
Yeah, no. Statement. It's a thin and light laptop. I wouldn't specifically expect it to have a dead.
Oh, okay, yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Okay, right. Let's see. Let's narrow this down. So something with an i5, because i5 is the minimum standard. So let's go i5. So Inspiron 15-3000. 8 gigs of RAM. 8888. 88888. Have they got a 16 option, or am I going to have to optional that? I'm probably going to have to optional extra it. I'm going to assume I've got to optional extra. So let's customize, because I usually end up on about the same amount. They've automatically put me on UK prices, but we can basically look at the UK price is going to be approximately the dollar price, as we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Okay, 11th gen i5. Windows 10. Windows 10 is included in the price. We'll bury the cost of that. Dell are charging a negligible amount for it to have Windows 10 on it. They're buying their Windows 10 licenses for like $10 or something like that. So
interesting, you can't get dual channel memory on this laptop.
No, there's no 16 gig option, so we're out already. We've got to move to a different option here.
Is there really not a filter on the left for RAM?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to add in a filter for 16 gigs of RAM. I didn't want to... let's see. Screen size, form factor, processor. Where's RAM? They have a RAM filter, because that's normally how I search.
Oh, there you go. Apparently, with the i5s, you cannot get more than 8 gigs of RAM.
Oh, yeah, okay.
What?
The Inspiron just does not come shipping with more than 8 gigs of RAM.
Turn off the i5.
Yeah.
Tick 16 gigs of RAM, and then see what CPU options we've got.
Yeah. Okay. They only offer up to 16 gigs of RAM with i7s.
What the fuck?
We could... Okay, you know what? There's... The obvious thing that a lot of people are probably going to be saying here is going to be like sort of, you need to buy a Latitude. The Latitude is easily going to spiral up to $1,000. There's not a doubt in my mind. And that doesn't really prove my point.
What happens if you just go laptops and then search for 16 gigs and i5?
That's basically what we're already on.
But you're filtered by Inspiron laptops.
Oh, true. Okay. Laptops.
And then just on the left-hand side, is there not a 16 gigs of RAM option
now? 16.
Oh, yeah, scroll down a bit. There you go.
Yeah, 16 gigs.
And then just sort by lowest price.
15. We basically get the same deal.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
I was just seeing if some other thing was going to...
Yeah, well, if you wanted to have 16 gigs out the gate, but then that we're up at like £900, which is going to be $900 if you buy it in the US. However, these are with i7s, not i5s, i7s and Ryzen 7s. So again, the Dell is beating out. I could buy an i5 Inspiron. Let's go back to the 8 gig ones, because the thing is,
do the 8 gig ones actually come with the option to upgrade the RAM though, or is it soldered?
It's not soldered, so I could easily buy a 1 gigabyte, single. These are 1 by 8 gig, so I could easily buy another 8 gig module for £30-40.
Probably. What was the speed of the framework RAM?
Ooh, good question. Probably decent, to be honest. 3200. Yeah, it comes with good RAM. Yeah, so you're gonna want to swap that out. So the
fastest you've got is that one there, 2666.
There. Okay, let's go with that one.
If you scroll down a bit, is there a
Let's
faster?
View details. So let's say we want it with an 11th Gen i5, and it's got 2666. Let's roll with that for now. Let's spec it up to 512 gigs.
Which changed something else in the specification. Oh, it changed the version of Windows.
Oh, it now comes with Windows 11. Who cares? Yeah. 649. Well,
scroll down. Is there anything else?
Yeah,
okay, no, there's nothing else. That's with 512.
And it comes with a fine screen, not a nice screen. The framework laptop will have a much nicer screen than that, because it will be a 16 by 10 or a 4 by 3 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that is $650. So that's probably about like $700. Does that seem reasonable to you? $700?
Yeah. What, to be able to get one for that much? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So actually, $700, and that's for an Inspiron 15. So actually, $1050 for the framework laptop. That's not bad.
I don't know. Why would I buy the framework laptop? What's it give me? I'm still not sure what it's actually giving me for my money.
So I'm
other
paying
than the feel-good factor of repairability. I'm
paying $300. Let's say I'm paying $300 for the framework. Call it $350 extra.
Okay.
Fine. Okay. So the framework is $350 extra. So for that, you're getting a modular laptop that is responsibly constructed and sourced, has all the parts are replaceable and customizable. So if anything happens, you can buy replacement parts for a reasonable price. The screen is going to be better. So, for example, let's say that to match the framework laptop, let's say there was an option on the Dell to pay, say, $100 extra, and it comes with an IPS panel or something like that. Because the framework is going to have what screen does the framework have? Let's see. What screen does the framework have?
You might have to look at the actual.
Yeah. What does it actually have? Is the screen actually any good? Choose your framework laptop. Framework laptop.
Yeah, you might have to look at the actual just standard framework laptop.
Yeah.
And then go learn more.
Tech specs. What are the tech? Give me the tech specs. Why are there no tech specs? Give me the tech specs. There we go. Screen display. 2256 by 1504. So
yes, it's 3x2.
Yeah, so it's 3x2, and that's high DPI as well, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's certainly at 14 inches. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and greater than 14 nits. So it's a high DPI sRGB color gamut. So it's probably IPS, or at least it's the equivalent of an IPS panel.
Yeah, probably.
So. I'm trying to say, how can we compare this to the Dell, basically? So let's say that the Dell had an optional extra for a high res, because the Dell just has a 1080p screen, which is
what
fine.
size is it? 15.6 inches.
It's
15.6. 1080p at 15.6 is high res.
It's fine, but it's not high. It's high res, but it's not high DPI. You know, with this, you'd run this at like 150% scaling, or if you're a mad lad, 120. The Dell, you're going to run that at 100%. You know, or at least I run my Dell. I run my 14-inch Dell at 100%. You know, so yeah. So let's pretend that the Dell had an optional extra that was another $100 to have a screen that could match that. So let's say the Dell is actually closer to $800. So we're actually talking like sort of $250 for it to be modular, responsibly built, repairable, and again have that 3x2 display, which is desirable kind of thing. The Dell has got more connectivity. It's got a couple more ports. But
the benefit
also
with the framework one is you can choose which ports you have.
Yeah.
And say right now you need 4 USB-A. If you've got 4 of the USB-A cards, you can have 4 USB-A.
Yeah.
If you need 4 USB-C, you can just use 4 USB-C. Yeah. So that's a benefit on flexibility. It might not have all of them at the same time, but the situation where you're going to need all of them at the same time, all of those ports, is much lower than needing a selection of them.
Yeah, so this is the thing, is that, like, the framework laptop, it looks expensive, but it's actually, it's reasonably priced. I don't want to say that it's cheap or good value, but it's reasonably priced. You know.
It certainly isn't an outrageous price for what they are trying to do. Absolutely.
And I think if we actually spec'd up a Dell to be actually the equivalent of the framework, because the Inspiron 15, it's a consumer laptop. It's made of cheap, scratchy plastic. It's, you know, like, don't get me wrong, I sell Inspiron 15s in my shop. They're good bog standard laptops.
It's 700 quid because we need to add in 50 quid for the RAM.
Yeah. So that's going to be $700 to $750.
Yeah.
You know, call it $800 to $850 if it had an equivalent panel on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, you know,
it kind of makes me sad that it's that expensive.
Yeah, that's the thing. Cheap laptops just aren't a thing at the moment. And this is, as I say, this is an Inspiron 15 with cheap, scratchy plastic. If we spec the equivalent XPS or Dell Latitude with
how
the
much
premium
is an XPS 13?
We're going to blow past $1,000 easy on an XPS or a Latitude. No problem whatsoever. View all products. So let's go XPS deals. Dell XPS 13, which is the nearest equivalent. 11th gen. So for $850, we get an i5, 8 gigs of RAM, high speed though. 1080p display. So better, but still not exotic display. You know, it's perfectly fit for purpose, but it's not exotic. I would call the framework's display exotic because it's high DPI and it's 3x2. This is a good display, but it's not exotic. This is 256. So if it was 512 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of SSD, we still need to add in more RAM because it's 8 gigs there. And we're at £900 already.
Yeah.
So call that $900. By the time you've added in 16 gigs of RAM, that's $950. And
assuming you can actually add it in.
Yeah, assuming that it's not soldered. On an XPS 13, it might be actually. Hang on a sec. Is there a 16 gig option?
On the left-hand side, there is. There's just a tick box.
16 gigs.
Okay,
that takes us to 1300 straight away. I mean, we're on i7s.
Yeah, because they only do i7s with the 16 gig.
So the question is, does the XPS 13 have soldered RAM? Yeah. I don't know is the answer to that. However, even if it doesn't have soldered RAM, if we add another £50 to up it to 16 gigs of RAM, we're still up at like $950. And so with the framework laptop costing $1,030, again, it's actually incredibly reasonable.
I guess the question is
I would fully imagine if we spec up a Latitude, it's going to cost the same. A Latitude will be the same.
The question
because you're paying for the warranty.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's kind of my point. The question is obviously the fact of, certainly for us being in the UK, is will we get any sort of functional warranty? Because they don't offer it in Europe.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Etc. Etc. Etc.
Yeah.
So
if warranty is a concern, then
I'm going to get a better service out of Dell.
Yes. Yeah.
for 6 years.
Yeah.
And now after 6 years, why do I care about the device?
Yeah.
It's basically e-waste by that point.
Yeah. So if warranty is a concern to you, then the Dell would be a better option. But of course, on the flip side, because of the repairability of the framework laptop, I mean, I suppose repairability is no good if the main motherboard fails and you've got a £500 bill for a new motherboard. However, if say if you broke the screen or if you broke a port or something, I'm basically, this is an unfinished thought. I'm tempted to say I would rather have a laptop that is repairable than a laptop that is not repairable that has a good warranty. Because the reason why I need the warranty is because I can't repair it.
No. The reason I need the warranty is because the manufacturer supplied something that is faulty.
Yeah.
It being repairable does not diminish the fact that the reason I'm repairing it is because the manufacturer supplied something faulty.
Yeah. So in that case, I entirely agree. I was throwing that out there as a challenge kind of thing.
The repairability of a device does not change the status of whether it came faulty.
Yeah. Okay.
Assuming the repairability is worthwhile when you damage your devices.
So in which case,
on some sort of regular basis.
What we're doing is we're gambling that I'm more likely to break it than it is to fail.
Yeah.
That's the gamble that you're making. What's more likely to happen? The device fails because of a fault, or you have broken something on it.
Yeah.
So,
and also it fails in a fashion that you are incapable of arguing to the manufacturers getting to repair. Obviously, in my circumstance, I'm more than willing to take that argument.
Yeah. Thanks to the European directive, for any purchase on a store or on the internet from a professional seller, you benefit from a legal guarantee of conformity of at least 2 years. So
interesting, but I'd like to see a UK court attempt to apply terms to a US company.
Yeah, because you've got to import it. Technically, they're not selling it in the US. They're not selling it to the UK.
I am choosing to import it.
I am choosing to import it.
Yeah.
By making UK shipping available, are they not selling it in the UK?
I do not believe so. I do not believe that counts.
Yeah. In order to count as selling in the UK, that would imply that they have a warehouse in the UK, wouldn't it?
I don't think it has to be supplied in the UK. They have to have some sort of shop in the UK, some sort of setup here, and specifically advertise.
Be a registered UK business per se.
But not that specifically, but a case of advertising it as available in.
Yeah, a UK presence. Yeah.
Yeah, you have. I think you have to advertise yourself as being available here.
Yeah.
But I've no idea.
Because otherwise,
this isn't obviously something I've ever tried to argue in front of a.
Yeah, that's just it. That's the interesting thing. It's just like if I go to America, I buy a framework laptop in America and I take it back to the UK. Do I get a warranty? Probably not, because I took it outside of its warranty area. However, if the company from whom I purchased the device offered to ship it to my country, are they not selling it to my country?
I think the second option is a different setup to the first one.
But you'd probably have to take it to small claims. But yeah.
And you would have quite. I think it would be quite difficult for you to successfully get anything out of it. But again, anal.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting one from Sai. Are they charging VAT at the point of sale? Because if so, they're selling it in the UK. That's basically an admission they're selling it to the UK if they're charging VAT.
Depends. Yeah, very much depends.
I don't know. I think we're very much.
Oh yeah, no. But it's a case of those are my personal considerations on it.
Yeah, I don't know. This is. I think I don't really care about the answer to this question because I'm not going to buy one.
No. However, but those are my considerations.
As a hypothetical, though, I think that's an interesting topic. I would, by all means, I would definitely. Oh, interesting. Yeah, they've got region and pricing there.
Interesting.
Well, they're offering different pricing and stuff like that.
Interesting. Yeah.
I would. Yeah. So okay, I think I'm going to move on to another topic in a minute because just yeah.
We haven't. There we go.
Okay. Hang on a sec. I'm just going to move our faces out of the way because we've just here we go. There's the money shot, everyone. We haven't opened ordering in your region yet, but we're looking forward to getting there. We can notify you when ordering opens. So yeah, they do not sell to the UK.
Yeah.
If you have a Framework laptop in the UK, you are not protected by any consumer rights, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So
interesting.
That's not
very well.
Yeah, so that's not to say that you shouldn't buy one or anything. However, if you buy one, your warranty is worthless.
Yeah. Unless
Framework are complete bros, which they might be. Given the kind of company that Framework is, it's entirely likely that they would turn around and be like, yeah, we'll warranty that. That's the point of what we're doing.
They will probably charge you for shipping and stuff. Which
and
is
I think that would be reasonable.
Acceptable response.
If they said, we'll honour the warranty, but you're paying shipping, I would say, you know what, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's not your problem that I moved to, that I bought it in, that I went to the UK with it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas, obviously, if I happen to then fly back to America, then start a warranty claim in America, then doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah. Yeah. However, conclusion, because we're going to move on in a minute. I'm going to talk about the YouTube dislikes in a minute. So all things considered then, I really like the Framework laptop, and after looking at it, it's very reasonably priced. You can buy cheaper laptops, but, the thing is, if I were buying a new laptop tomorrow, I'd want it to have at least an i5, because I don't very often need a lot of horsepower from my laptop, but it's one of those things where when you need it, you need it. It's like the Apple rationale for removing all of the ports from their laptops were that no one uses them, except that one time when you're at a wedding and you want to plug the projector into your laptop, and then you really need HDMI. You hardly ever use them except when you need them. So I would buy an i5 because when I need it, I need it. And so if we're shopping for i5 laptops, I'm going to want 16 gigs of RAM because for my use, 8 gigabytes is not enough. 8 gigabytes is not enough in my current laptop. So I have 12 in there. So I would want 16 gigs of RAM. So we spec'd up a laptop with an i5, 16 gigs of RAM, and I don't need the exotic screen. However, by virtue of the fact that it comes with it and we can't remove that, that's just how much it is. But the Framework laptop is incredibly reasonably priced. It is competitively priced versus the equivalent Dell. That's it. That's the facts. And it's competitively priced, and you're getting the repairability and the ethical vegan friendliness of it. Come on, if I call it vegan friendly, everyone knows what I'm talking about, right? I'm sure their sources are ethical. I'm sure their factories are ethical. Whereas Dell probably are built in a sweatshop. We're not idiots here. We know that our Dell laptops are built by Chinese ladies being paid pennies on the hour, kind of thing. It's that's the world we live in. I'm not making a commentary on whether I believe that is right or not. I'm just saying that's what's happening, So I think the Framework is very reasonable. I would like one. If I had to buy a new laptop tomorrow, I wouldn't be tempted because I can't buy one yet. If they were selling in the UK, I would be very tempted. Yeah. So I'm not buying one because I can't, and I'm not going to buy one because I don't need a new laptop. But if I was buying a new laptop tomorrow and the Framework was available, it would definitely be in the list of contenders, I think. Assuming that I was buying new. The problem is I'd buy secondhand because my laptop isn't my daily driver. I'd buy a secondhand laptop with like 6th or 7th gen i5. I'd buy what I already have, which is a Dell Latitude i5, because they're like £300 or £400 on Amazon, and they're really good, and they've got M2 hard SSDs in them. That's the problem. I already own what I would buy. I like the Framework laptop though. That answers the question. Right. I'm going to quickly go through the chat, then we're going to go on to the YouTube dislikes. So I'm not sponsored, but if Framework wants to sponsor me, if Framework wants to send me one of these laptops, I would sing its praises because I really like it. And they don't need to send me a laptop now because I've already sung its praises. But yeah, Framework are not watching this. But if they were watching this, or if anyone was talking to them, I would certainly tout a Framework laptop. But they need to make it available in the UK. Yeah. I do now and then see customers who are ethically focused, per se. And they want to buy a computer.
Ethically focused, not ethnically focused. Yes, sorry.
Ethically focused.
Given where we are in the country.
I'm not reading into that either. They are ethically focused, and I do get customers who would pay a premium to have a laptop that is ethically sourced, repairable, maintainable, and all the rest of it. I do encounter quite a few customers who are like, I've got an iPhone, not because I like Apple, but because you've either got an iPhone or you've got a Samsung, right? You can't win. And the only, there's lots of folks who want who want the Fairphone equivalent in a laptop, and the equivalent is a Framework. So yeah. Beer out the bottle. Give these guys a proper glass. Bottle is fine. It's glass. If we were drinking from a can, I'd understand. Drinking from a can ain't classy. And I do that. Last week I was drinking out of a can, and I was like, this ain't classy, but this is where I am. However, we're fine. Anyway, hipster laptops.
Is that what happens when I'm not around?
Yes. I mean, to be honest, it was Stowford. I wasn't drinking Thatcher's Gold. If you're drinking
gold.
If you're drinking Thatcher's Gold out of a can, then you've lost control of your life. So
no. That's when you're drinking White Lightning out of a plastic bottle on the park bench.
No, that's just when you're a hobo.
I now need to distance myself from this conversation. Good afternoon.
So the YouTube dislikes. Let's talk about YouTube dislikes.
I know precisely nothing about this conversation.
The new Asus that's made from recycled plastics. I was not aware of that.
However,
sounds kind of
interesting. It's a good start.
Yeah, sure. As long as it's good, because the problem is, it's all very well making a phone. If you make a laptop that's farm fresh and it's made out of recycled plastic, that's great. But does it bend if I twist it? This is the problem.
Does it come with an Intel Celeron 4 gigs of RAM and a mechanical hard drive?
Yeah. This is the problem. It's all very well making a product that's very ethical and very responsible, but if it's a bad product, it's doomed to fail. I'm not going to buy cider that comes in a paper bottle, because what's going to happen is it's going to leak out the bottle. So.
Your argument with that is actually that glass is the more ethical solution there.
Absolutely. I will buy it in a glass bottle.
I am actually actively displeased that we've moved away from glass bottles towards plastic bottles. Because do you know what I can do with glass? Infinitely.
Recycle it.
Do you know what I can't do with plastic at the moment? Infinitely recycle it.
Yeah. I assume that glass is just too expensive. Well, I'll rephrase that. I assume glass is more expensive than plastic.
It is too expensive when the only value that you have as an entity is to make more money.
Yeah. God, I hate capitalism. I'm gonna give this example because there's going to be plenty of people who haven't heard it. Ages back, when Lewis Rossman was doing live stream coverage of the Right to Repair, he went to Nebraska, where they were doing Right to Repair in Nebraska, and he was recording the Senate, the hearing, the
event. He was live streaming.
He was live streaming the event where they were debating the Right to Repair in Nebraska, and there was a chap who was pro Right to Repair up on the stand. He was like a farmer or something like that, and he was making his case of, I need to be able to repair my tractor myself, etc., etc. Because Right to Repair is not just computers; it's cars, it's tractors, it's washing machines. However, tractors and farming machinery ties into it very heavily because fuck John Deere, quite frankly. So He was pro right to repair. And the senator or the congressman, that's the word I was looking for. I don't know the American system. The congressman said to him, it was an old chap, he said he was playing, I'll paraphrase, he was playing devil's advocate, and he was basically saying, he was making the argument that right to repair would cost businesses money. And obviously in America, big businesses and small businesses are seen as the same thing. It's not small business, it's not mom and pop businesses versus big business, it's just business. And he was making the argument that right to repair would cost businesses money, which is bad, right? Fine. And he said, if the right to repair will cause businesses to lose money because they will sell less or they will be able to fix less because they are making available the means to repair their stuff, which means people are not paying for them to fix it or buying a new one. Okay. And he said, and I quote, "What is the purpose of a business if not to make money?" That was his exact words. And unfortunately, the guy on the stand was kind of caught off guard by this quote. And this quote angered me beyond reason, because what I really needed the guy on the stand to say, and what he did not think of, is to say, no, what purpose of a business is there if not to make enough money? This is the critical term, enough money. Because the problem with late stage capitalism, the problem with AAA games, the problem with EA, the problem with Ubisoft, the problem with Apple, the problem with all of them is that it's not enough to make money. They have to make all the money. They have to make more. It's not enough. It's not enough just to be able to pay their business. It's not enough to pay the bills and to pay everyone a living wage. There has to be more. That's the problem. It's not enough. And therein lies the issue. And I don't have an issue with capitalism because I'm in business to make money, but I'm in business to make enough money. I'm not interested in becoming a millionaire. I'm not interested in having $1 billion in stock options. I'm interested in paying myself a living wage and paying anyone else who would work for me a living wage, because that is enough money. And I don't need more money than that. That's the problem with capitalism. So this is the thing. So that's the issue, and this is where ethics comes into it, and this is where talking about plastic versus glass comes into it. Is that the problem with business is that they're making money selling cider in glass bottles, but in their eyes they could make more money if they sold it in plastic bottles, and that's the problem. And that's it. I'm done being sanctimonious now. So the YouTube dislike thing. I'm not taking criticism. So are you okay? I know I've just done a proper rant, but are we still friends?
I feel that for a lot of food products, it can be argued that the image of the product would be significantly harmed by moving away from the glass packaging for bottles of premium cider.
It's true.
If they moved to a plastic bottle, they would not be able to charge the price they presently charge.
That's true.
Even if the product inside was identical.
If I saw a plastic bottle of cider on the shelf in Tesco, I would automatically assume that is trash cider.
Yeah. They are bound by perception to continue using glass bottles for it. So yeah. So my rant was not entirely relevant, but a side note. It's something that I wanted to make public. Yeah, absolutely. No. So it's a case of to a degree, the solution to this problem is pinning a company's value on its image and pinning its image
I see where you're going with this.
On its ethical credentials, on its demonstrated intention to help humans.
Yes, I see where you're going with this. You're making a counterpoint of
how a
company can move forward from that position.
How we solve your problem using the tools that have been provided by their interest in making money.
Yeah.
Their interest in making money is based off of their interest in making money. The way they make money is by having good public image. You make their public image based off of recyclable containers, based off of fair and ethically sourced materials. You make their image based off of those. In the layperson,
so
they become interested in those things. As you said with the woman who came in 3 weeks ago, whose daughter had done the research project for that company. The answers to those questionnaires. That is how, at a level of a large number of people, we then move in that direction by demonstrating that interest across all sectors of society. But also a case of by not getting emotionally invested in it. Because you can't be emotionally invested in it, because then your argument starts falling apart because you get angry. Because you start just shouting at people and calling them stupid for not understanding and not agreeing with you. So you cannot get invested in it.
That's a very good follow-up. That is to say, not a counterpoint, but a solution to the problem that I'm proposing. Because that's the problem, is that I'm proposing an issue here, but not a solution, and therein lies the solution. And likewise, to that, I would say in challenge, Dell, if you make a laptop like the Framework laptop, where the schematics are available, the spare parts are available, it is responsibly produced, and it is, I'm not asking it to be cheaper, but it is reasonably priced. It's more expensive than your mass-produced stuff. If Dell makes a framework, then I would say, I'll buy that. And I would buy it, I would consider it to be on an equal standing to the framework. I would not say, no, buy the framework because it's not the evil Dell Corporation. If Dell made a window frame laptop, I would consider that to be on equal standing to the framework, because
I wasn't sure where that was going.
The point of it, that it is responsibly built, it is repairable, the schematics, etc., are available. All of the selling points of the Framework laptop. If Dell did that, I would pay a premium for that as well.
I think
now there are limits to that. I would only pay, say, $100 or $200 for extra on $1,000 laptop kind of thing. I'm not going to spend the reason why I started looking up the Framework laptop is that if the Framework laptop had cost $1,500 for an i5, I'd have been like, no, it's too expensive.
Absolutely.
I'm not willing to pay that much for principles.
Absolutely.
My principles do have a monetary value. Anyone who says otherwise is lying, or hasn't thought about it,
or already has a lot of money.
Or money is no object. If money is no object, then
just to quickly say what Chris has said about Coca-Cola using 90% recycled PETG in some of their bottles. That is not true. Coke's own figures say that the highest they've ever reached for recycled plastics in their bottles was about 9%, and that was in the early 90s. And at the moment, it's something like 2%, I think, according to their own numbers.
That's unfortunate.
Yes.
It annoys me when companies use some recycled plastic to win brownie points, especially when,
although for the first time ever, recycled PETG is now more expensive than virgin PETG, which means that more people want to recycle, because the recycled material is now worth more than the virgin material.
That's good.
So companies will want to recycle plastic because they can now actually start making a business model based on it.
That's good, because that's the problem, is that I respect the fact that if it costs more to recycle something, then people won't do it. But there's also the consideration of recycling is not necessary. the problem is there's layers to it, because recycling is not useful if it uses more energy than making a new one from scratch. However, I'm nearly there. If we get to the point where we have clean energy, so energy is zero carbon, then the energy input would be irrelevant because it was zero carbon to use that additional energy in the first place.
I would contend that, yes, if we're talking about raw electrical energy, certainly in the UK, certainly in vast swathes of Western Europe, it matters less. In Scandinavia, if you're using more electricity than it would take to use the virgin stuff, it matters less because the renewable percentage of the grid is high 80s, low 90s, averaged across a year. So on that scale, it matters less, but it still obviously matters because it's woefully inefficient. And if you're looking at a global efficiency point of view, that energy could be used for something else. That energy could be used for a house instead of making plastic bottles, if the plastic bottle facility was more efficient on its energy input. But kind of a case of...
I live in hope that sometime in the not too distant future we will reach a point where we have unlimited energy is the wrong term, but we have enough energy that we can just say, yes, we can recycle whatever we want and damn the energy expense because we have lots of renewable energy. I recently watched a video about fusion energy. I know. Fusion is always 20 years away, right? I watched a video that basically was making the argument that yes, fusion is the punching bag of all of the physics jokes because it's always 20 years away. But we actually are still making breakthroughs in fusion energy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
I don't think anyone denies that point. But so the commercial viability of it is probably never.
Maybe.
Commercial viability.
Yes, agreed. Commercial, yes. Okay, because that's the thing. Because
by the time we actually get to the understanding of making functional fusion reactors, I imagine that commercial considerations will have decreased.
Maybe. I mean, the thing is that I don't want to make assertions here because I can't remember the exact numbers of the video, but the video it was a proper engineering channel. It wasn't just.
It was a propaganda channel.
It wasn't some nut job green power thing. The person was sort of acknowledging the fact that fusion is always 20 years away. But and he said there's a number. Now I can't remember what the terminology and the exact numbers were, but he said there's a number that is used to represent the ratio of energy into energy out, and so on. And obviously, if the number reaches 1, that means you have gotten as much energy out as you put in. However, that does not take into consideration how much energy it costs to run the facility that runs the reactor. Which therein lies the problem. You can make a reactor that produces exactly the amount of energy energy out as you put into it, but if your entire facility and staff takes an additional megawatt to run, then that is still net loss. However, the point of the video was that they are moving to a position where they are potentially reaching prototype designs that would have for example, 1.5, which is more out than in, and now you're on your way to producing more power than the facility is consuming. So
we have had successful fusion energy runs that were gross neutral. That were energy in to energy out of reaction. But obviously it was a case of, I think they ran for less than a second. They ran for fractions of a second. So it's kind of a case of functionally useless when looking at a power supply, but a case of obviously very good progress from a science point of view. But
so I think the point that I'm making with this conversation is not to say sort of, fusion is imminent, because it's not. It's still 20 years away.
Minimum.
Yeah.
But yeah.
However, I think my point is that what we're at the point where we're looking at fusion and going, yeah, we're not there yet, but it can be done. I think is the point that I want to make. Is I think fusion is the exit strategy of the world, kind of thing, because we need what we need as a planet is a next generation energy supply. And the thing is, fusion is I'm just going to say, it's not going to happen in our lifetime, but it's possible. And I think that fusion would form the exit strategy that means we can actually just recycle stuff where cost of energy to recycle is no object, kind of thing. Or at the very least is a negligible object. But yeah. Again, not as close as I think. I think that's reasonable. I'm not gonna say it'll happen in my lifetime. Whatever.
But a case of obviously a scale of happening in your lifetime is still another 60 years away from today. So
yeah.
Okay.
However, I think
a lot can happen in those 60 years.
What my takeaway from that video was not that fusion was imminent. I think my takeaway from that video was that fusion was actually possible.
That it is in fact possible.
Yeah. And because the problem is that it's easy to look at fusion and make jokes about how fusion is always 20 years away and be like, why are we still spending money on this when it's not viable, etc., etc. But the thing is, it's a case of it is worth putting money into fusion and spending all this money on fusion, because while we probably won't see the benefits, our children or our children's children might just see the benefit of it. And I think that's why fusion and so yeah.
It's also a case though that you're saying that as a solution. It's also the other solution.
I'll see if I can find that video. Political will. Agreed, because there's also a very strong argument to me. Molten salt. So yeah. Are you familiar?
Are you okay there?
Molten salt nuclear reactors.
Have you suddenly become infested with some parasite? Just like the beginning of Men in Black, but instead of requiring sugar, it requires salt.
Molten salt nuclear reactors are a really good idea. However, no one has ever built one.
To be honest,
no one's ever built a commercial one.
To be honest, as a layperson, I feel like molten anything involving my nuclear reactor is a terrible idea. Something elephant's foot, something Chernobyl.
That's the point. Molten salt reactors literally cannot melt down.
They're already molten.
That's the point. They've already They've already melted down. They're yeah. It's Anyway. So yeah. Right. Someone asked about sharing the video. I'm gonna have a quick look in
YouTube.
Yeah, if I bring up, I'm going to... hold on a sec. I'm still screen sharing. That's a terrible idea right now. Display capture? What on earth am I... Where on earth is that coming from?
It's coming from this PC.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I switched off the display capture and got another desktop. And I was like, what?
See?
All right, let's go to the face cam. That's the wrong camera.
Hello!
Hi, everyone. That's the wrong camera. There we go. I've been drinking. Remember what I said, that I'm a lightweight? So I'm sorry. There's going to be someone in the comments that's just like, so unprofessional. I don't care. Come at me. Right. Let me check my YouTube history. Let's see.
Why would you have watched it on the Adamant IT2 channel?
Oh yeah, sorry. I meant to open my hang on a sec. Where's Nethisem? There we go. YouTube. Sure. Okay. Right. There. Sign it. Oh. Come on. I want to. Oh, I've signed in. There we go. That's fine. Where are? There is a
history.
Where,
Do you want history?
Yes.
It's literally right above.
Thanks.
It's the one that's called history with the big
also shut up
words of history.
Right, I'm gonna back scroll and see if I can find it. Like I said, it was an interesting video. I'm not one of these people that's just like sort of
Atomic energy.
No, that
UV protection amulet.
Let's see. Okay. It was a couple of days ago, so that's a lot of videos ago now. I watched a lot of YouTube, to be honest. I was watching it in the evening. What proof?
That's the 29th of October. You've gone a long way back.
Yeah, hang on a sec. Search.
Search? It's in the right-hand side. I'm
going to search on the page first. Fusion. There we go. Exploring why this and yeah, here we go. Hang on a sec. Sponsored by Curiosity Stream, because that's what all the STEM channels are sponsored by. I'm going to smash this into the channel. Like I said, I'm not saying this is the future. I'm just saying this is the video I watched. I thought it was an interesting video. Make of that what you will. Get sponsor block. If someone wants to sponsor this, then they're more than welcome to. God, I wish I was like
Westerns.
Imagine being Linus Tech Tips, where you can just get away with anything. So yeah.
No. See. What you have failed to realise is that because Linus believes he can get away with anything, he can get away with anything.
It's true.
You set your own limits and boundaries.
Yeah. All right. YouTube dislikes.
For the 17th time.
YouTube dislikes. YouTube dislikes.
I wouldn't know. I've literally never looked at them.
We've been going for 2 hours, so this is the last topic of the day. So sponsor block is an extension that skips. Oh, really? Damn. Sponsor block is an extension that skips sponsor segments and more optional stuff in YouTube videos. Today I learned. Fair enough. Yeah. All right. Sure. I'm not that fussed. I mean, I skip sponsor segments in adverts because I just tap the right arrow key a couple of times and it jumps forward by 30 seconds, kind of thing. But I'm generally always interested to see who is sponsoring people, just because I'm interested. I'll always wait when someone says this video is sponsored by. I do actually wait to see who it's sponsored by and what their product is, because I'm genuinely interested to know.
Raid Shadow Legends.
And then I skip forward, and because I do actually wait. I'm like, you know what? I'll wait. What are you selling to me? Because it might be something I'm interested in.
Ridge Wallet.
I have looked up the price of a Widge wallet. A Widge wallet. I've looked up
the most turgid thing in your pants.
I've looked up the price of a Ridge wallet. They're horrifyingly expensive.
Aren't they like $90?
Yeah, and I'm like, who the fuck would buy this?
Do you know what I can do? I can make my own Ridge wallet with an elastic band and 2 credit cards.
Yeah. If you want to sponsor me, Ridge wallet, I'd take the money, but
my morals are purchasable.
Yeah. However, it's the same with dbrand, man. You've got a dbrand on that, haven't you? How much was your dbrand skin?
I don't know, like £16.
Okay, that's reasonable. Like whenever I look up the dbrand skin for like a MacBook Air or something like that, it's like £50, £60.
Of course it is. They're selling it to someone who's an idiot who bought a MacBook.
Ow! But yeah, okay.
I failed to see which part of this you're missing. But also, this isn't a dbrand skin.
Okay.
This is an.
I thought you
Extreme Wraps one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I wanted to try someone different.
Oh, right, yeah.
And you will note that there is a difference. Oh God, I'm making a right meal of this.
Yeah.
1 moment.
It wasn't as good, was it?
You will note there is a substantial difference. This does not glue.
Yeah.
This is not glued down. There is fluff under the skin.
Credit where it's due. dbrand skins are really good, aren't they?
They actually attach to the phone. However, doesn't that look pretty good though? No, you're looking at it too close. I mean the texture itself, not the quality of the skin.
Where's the crap tier face cam again? This is Caradog's. Oh God!
Congratulations, it's white. Use the real camera. Use the real camera.
Okay, hang on a sec.
Oh my God! No, that's the best. You need to change the sauce. The sauce. Mamma mia!
You can take the keyboard. Hang on a sec.
That's the spicy
Tell me if
meatball.
this is in focus.
Oh no, I need my.
If I do that, is that in focus?
Yes, it was in focus.
All right. You all okay? They've seen it.
That was not what I meant, but sure, you do you. Oh boy.
Why are we talking about the skin of your phone? It's all right, but
No,
yeah.
I didn't mean the fit and finish. I just meant I said.
Okay, yeah.
I meant like, isn't this quite
texture.
nice? The
Yeah.
colour, the texture.
It's okay. Honestly, I prefer the bare phone. I don't
like the bare phone because
No?
it looks like. Honestly, on that one, it looks
Yeah.
like someone went, let's make a black phone, but with water. It's basically just a grey.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll
don't
level
like
with
it.
you. I like bare phones. The only reason why I have a silicon wrap on my phone is just because I want to be able to do that with it and not care.
Indeed.
Whereas if I did that with it while it didn't have a silicon case on it, I'd be like, oh, you know. But then I don't know if they can actually take that. I think they probably can, but yeah. I mean, yeah, that's all right. It's a stone. What's it called? Stone.
Or concrete.
Concrete. God, yeah, I got a concrete finish on my phone. That's kind of what it is, though, isn't it? It's all right, though. Yeah, it's all right. It gives a. Oh, blimey! I've somehow managed to get onto pay. I could rinse your card right now.
How?
Oh, I can get my Zettel.
Now you could.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I'm not into skins myself, but yeah, it's reasonable.
I like it compared to the stock colour because I just find the stock colour.
Yeah.
Eh.
I'm in full squirrel mode. I kind of am. I'm sorry, by the way. Legitimately, I'm sorry, but yeah, this is vintage. This for reference. This is eight. This is eight. What? What are you laughing at? What did I say that was out? This is Henry Weston's vintage. It is an 8.2% hard cider. Or what have you seen? Night Fusion.
I was ill prepared.
Okay, yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Chris S has scored funny points with Caradog and Graham.
Again.
Yeah. Look, we need to talk about the YouTube thumbs down thing. I don't know why, because everyone's talked about this, and there's not a doubt in my mind that whatever I say, someone else has already said it.
Can I say this as someone who
yeah.
is third party to all of this?
Okay.
I've never looked. I've never paid any attention to how many likes or dislikes a video has.
Same.
Never paid any attention to it whatsoever.
Same.
I literally only watch videos that are from channels I subscribe to.
Same.
My sole involvement with YouTube is a channel's video page.
Yeah.
Literally the list of their videos, and I go, watch video.
Yeah.
Close tab. Watch video. Close tab. Watch video. Close tab.
Yeah.
That is my some involvement. So I don't see what function disliking a video is supposed to serve.
To give my equivalent, I watch videos that I'm subscribed to. I only ever look at my subscriptions page. I don't use the YouTube homepage. Change your bookmarks. Don't use the homepage. Don't let the algorithm rule you. However, I charged you £100 and you didn't even know it. What even was that?
Me receiving money. I have more money now.
All right.
Oh, I'm about to get another one as well then.
Is someone tipping you but not me? They're like, yes, screw Adam. Caradog is the one who deserves tips. Anyway.
Anyway, the dislikes.
YouTube dislikes. Okay, I use the YouTube subscriptions page. Sorry,
Okay.
I can see the comments now of people going, "Oh, he's drunk, so unprofessional." So I use the YouTube subscriptions page, Don't use the homepage because the algorithm sucks. And however, when I finish watching a video, I check the recommended videos on the right-hand side and on just the grid after the video to see if there's anything relating to this video that I think is relevant to my interests. That's how I discover new channels and new content. So the recommended videos is important for discovery, because I can't, with a straight face, tell people not to use the homepage if I'm not suggesting the use of another form of discovery. Because if you only ever look at whom you're subscribed to, how do you discover new content and how do other channels get discovered? So I look at recommended videos. However, the only time I ever care about the like-dislike ratio is when I look at a video and I go, I don't like this, and I look at the dislike ratio to confirm my bias. If I look at a video and I'm like, I don't like this video, I look at the dislike video ratio to see if other people agree with me.
So what you're saying is you're not confident in your own opinions.
Rude. I just want other people to validate me. So,
hence why I have a YouTube channel and an audience.
Ow. 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 However, yeah, I entirely agree. I don't care about YouTube removing the dislike button. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's silly that they're their reason. Hang on a second.
Is the actual button going, or is simply seeing the result of it?
Seeing the result of it, because yeah, you can dislike a video, and the content creator can see the dislikes, but the public can't see the dislikes, and this is where it gets really heckin' stupid. Because the reasoning for them doing this is that small creators or some creators get dislike bombed, where people will dislike the video to troll them and things like that. And there are creators that can become very discouraged because a load of trolls or just someone pays for dislike bombs and dislike bombs their video, and they see the dislike ratio. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can pay to dislike bomb someone's video.
There are enough people willing to pay money for that it's a service that is offered.
Absolutely.
Oh my Lord. Absolutely.
And I can tell you examples, and I will do so just for the interest of the audience. Take, for example, Dave Jones over at EEV blog. He experienced this firsthand. A while back, he did a lot of debunking and proof and videos based around a product called the what was it called? It was the Batterizer, and what it was, yeah. Now, it was called the Batterizer,
and anything you put in the box, it turns to batter.
No. What it was. It was a small device. It's a sleeve that you would fit over, for example, a AA battery, and it has a tiny boost converter on the end of it. So when the battery drops in voltage, it boosts the voltage up to 1.5 volts. So it keeps, and the idea is that obviously a battery has a performance curve, and as you use the battery, the voltage droops down, right? So as it goes, the voltage droops down. Now the theory is that once the voltage dips, let's say you've got a 1.5 volt AA battery, the theory is that once it dips below 1 volt, it is no longer useful because it does not provide enough voltage to power the product.
Yes.
Okay. So if you put a DC boost converter on the end of it that keeps boosting the voltage up on a regulator, it can squeeze every last bit of energy out of the battery once it's gone under 1 volt, right? So it gets more energy out of the battery. Right? Now, the problem with this is, yeah, theoretically that works. However, the problem is that once the cell has dipped below 1 volt, it's basically empty anyway. There's like if you have, let's say your battery stores 1,000 milliamp hours, once you go under 1 volt, you've got like 100 or 200 left. It's basically empty. So the first problem with the product was that there's actually no useful energy down in that section of the cell anyway.
If it was a little thing that was like from 1.2 to 1.5, so you can use the like NiMi rechargeables in those really fangy devices. They're like, no, must be 1.5.
Yeah, sure.
Suddenly
Maybe.
I'd be like, you know what?
Sure.
Yeah,
for the 10 people that use NiMi rechargeables, yeah.
How dare you? I'm ethically sourced.
Yeah. So the theory of the product was fine, but the practice of the product was just no. The product is not useful. Now, Dave Jones at EEV Blog, he made a series of videos that theorized that the product would not be useful, and he proved it through the numbers and the calculation. Then when the product was released, he bought one, and he proved that it was not useful.
Oh dear.
And he did tests and proved that it was demonstrably not useful. So, I mean, the product did exactly what it said it would do. It boosted the voltage up. However, in tests, again, there was no useful energy left in the battery. So it was not useful. And the company that makes the batterizer, I can't remember the name of the company, the videos that he was making had a abnormally high dislike ratio. And when he looked into his YouTube analytics, because when you run a YouTube channel, you have access to Google Analytics, and there's a lot of data in there. We know when someone's fiddling with our numbers, and he could see that there was an unreasonable number of dislikes on this video that were all coming from, how shall I put it, third world countries where people would get paid to sit and click the dislike button for money. And it was demonstrable that the company that was making the batterizer, or someone who was standing for them, who knows, was I'm going to put that out of reach.
You have been debottled.
Yes. It was demonstrably evident that he was being dislike bombed, and you can pay for that. So yeah, that's a thing. So moving back on topic with the YouTube dislikes, yeah, you can pay money to dislike bomb a video, or you can just get all of your mates to dislike bomb a video. Whatever.
All 4 of them that they have.
The point was that people's videos get dislike bombed, and it makes them feel bad. Now and then, I've put out videos that have got a not a large amount of dislikes, but the dislike ratio has been higher than usual. And usually when I look at videos that have got a higher than usual dislike ratio, I can look at that video and be like, yeah, that wasn't my best work. Or I missed certain factors, or this wasn't representative. Or, you know what, there's a really good point, and I don't enjoy talking about this video, but I'll talk about it because transparency. A while back, like a year or two ago, I put out a video that was basically my first attempt at doing an SSD fit to an iMac that has a glued on screen. And I used double-sided tape to put the screen back on, instead of using the proper official iMac tape measures. And it wasn't the best way to do it, basically. However, the thing is you guys know my videos are discovery format. I don't look up how to do a job first. I figure it out as I go. That's why people like my videos, is because I'm figuring it out as I go. But unfortunately, sometimes that means I make a video that's not necessarily the best way to do it. That's just how it works. And the iMac video was one of those. I've actually privated that video because it's one of the it joins one of the select few videos that I've ever privated, because I'm like, this is not representative of work that I wish to display to the public. There are some videos where I'm like, oh, absolutely, I've got early videos where my soldering was atrocious, but those videos stand as evidence of how much I've grown, learned, and improved. No one looks at a video that I made 5 years ago and expects me to be as good as I am today. Whatever. I'm not looking at the chat. However, there are some videos where I'm just like, no, this video should be privated. And the iMac video was one of them. And the dislike ratio on that was higher because it was not a great video. I was saying this is how I have fixed this iMac when there is objectively a better way to do it that I should have done. And likewise, at some point in the future, I need to do another iMac SSD video where I demonstrate this and I say, I did a video way back when, that's been privated. Here's how to do it properly. You know,
using the special supplies.
Yes, that's right. So
supplies.
Yeah. So that's the thing. The dislike ratio is there, and it is important because it is a way of the audience telling the creator that this video is not as good as it could be. Perhaps it's not a good video. And arguably, when you look at a lot of the arguments I've seen have been that when you're looking at tutorials and stuff like that, which arguably my repair videos are tutorial videos, you could argue. If you look up a tutorial video, let's say I do Google how to fix iMac, and I click on a video, and that video has got a 90% dislike ratio, that tells me that this video is probably not to be trusted. So that's the value of it. It serves two purposes. A, it warns people that it's probably not a good video that you probably shouldn't trust. And B, it tells the creator that your audience didn't really like that. So the dislike button...
Nobody liked that.
Yeah, exactly. The dislike button serves two purposes to that extent. So what does removing it achieve? Firstly, the dislike button has not been removed and the creator still sees the dislike ratio. So firstly, the creators who are getting bullied by getting dislike bombed, they still see those dislikes. So you haven't actually fixed the problem that you said you were fixing. You know, the creators that are getting bullied by dislike bombing still see the dislikes. So you haven't solved that problem. And the only thing you've done is made it so that dislike ratio isn't public. But if a creator doesn't want people to see dislikes, then you turn off ratings. When I upload a video, I have an option to switch off comments and to switch off ratings. And if I don't want people to dislike bomb me, I turn off ratings. And the trade-off I make is that I don't get to get those thumbs up. And I don't look at the thumb up count anyway. My measure for whether a video is good or not is how many views it's getting. If a video is getting lots of views, that tells me that lots of people are watching it. Because when lots of people watch it and share it, the algorithm picks it up and shares it, which gets more views. So,
or you've managed to make sufficient number of people angry.
Yeah, all that. Yeah. In which case, the video is probably achieving its objective anyway. That's the question. There is an indistinguishable line between a good video and a video that achieves its objective. Make of that what you will. Make of that what you will. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if we'll see.
TLDR, I don't care about the dislike button being removed, but I think it's a bad move and I think it's stupid. I don't think it achieves anything by removing it.
I don't know. Because I've just thought of another thing that someone else said there as well.
Yeah, I've not been reading chat.
Bandwagoning.
Bandwagoning.
Because if a video, if no one can see whether a video is greatly liked or disliked, are people not more likely to be honest?
Yeah, that's true.
So we are more likely to see a more truthful percentage.
Yeah, YouTube Rewind notoriously gets disliked into the Stone Age, but I think that's because it's bandwagoning.
I mean, also the fact of it's just been absolute garbage of no editorial quality for like 3 years.
Oh, okay. I never watched YouTube Rewind, so I wouldn't actually know. But it wouldn't surprise me if it gets dislike bombed just because it's funny and trendy to dislike bomb YouTube Rewind.
I mean, it didn't help that basically I've not seen anyone who's commented on it that was like, yes, this was actually a worthwhile human endeavor.
That's true. Perhaps that was a bad example because YouTube, as I say,
However,
I don't watch YouTube Rewind, and the reason why I don't watch it is because they get in a bunch of celebrities, and I'm like, I don't feel like this is representative of YouTube. But like, this is my same argument with YouTube in general, is I don't think YouTube is representative of YouTube. Now, bear with me here. For example, my beef with the algorithm. the 2021 algorithm is notoriously punishing creative YouTubers who are the maker space. There are lots of repair channels, engineering channels, create channels that are suffering massively under the 2021 algorithm. My channel took a massive hit by the 21 algorithm. I'm doing okay because I anticipated this situation. I'm surviving because I took preventative measures in case this happened, and it did happen. However, and the thing is, the YouTube algorithm favors clickbait and garbage at the moment. And I'm like, YouTube...
But does it, though?
Well, okay. Because I'll finish my argument, and then you can tell me yours. Because my theory is that YouTube can, with the algorithm, YouTube can dictate what is popular. But the problem is YouTube says clickbait is popular, so we'll promote that. And I'm like, no, if you promoted creator channels, they would be popular because you're promoting them. So YouTube has the ability to dictate what is popular, but yet they keep just popularizing clickbait trash, which is why the creator space is suffering under the new algorithm. With that in mind, make your argument.
If people disagreed with what the algorithm was doing, it would not be successful, and therefore it would have been changed.
See, I disagree because the problem is that people look at the YouTube homepage. They click on what YouTube shows them.
Right. And if that wasn't what they wanted to watch, they would not watch it.
I feel
people cannot be belittled to such a stage as to stating that they will watch content that they dislike. You cannot make that statement.
I think I can, and I think they do. Like, I'm willing to agree to disagree. I'm not going to make an argument over this kind of thing. However, I think people will watch what you tell them to watch. And I think Facebook is a standing example of this, because Facebook's algorithm is literally designed to show content that makes people angry, and people drink it up.
Right.
Now, I agree. Now, I'm strawmanning there because I'm bringing Facebook into this, which is not fair.
But
we're talking about YouTube here, not Facebook.
But at the same time, is the person's not intent with that to therefore become angry, and therefore it is exactly what they are looking for and wanting?
Yeah, that's a reasonable comment, and in which case that's a problem with society.
Is it? I feel like the statement is. I feel like the statement is a non-compartmentalizable argument.
Perhaps I'm
because of the state of opinion.
I'm blaming the institution for something for which society is to blame. Perhaps I'm blaming YouTube for a problem that the audience has created. But then on the flip side, what I'm saying is that YouTube is the one that has the power to change this, and I feel like they are choosing not to.
But you're saying that they should dictate what people watch according to what other metric? So the category of makerspace should now be the sole shipped content?
Yeah, like
what categorizes it is that then?
I'm not saying that this is morally justified or that this is the correct answer. However, what the argument that I'm making here is I'm saying yes, YouTube should dictate what is popular, because the argument that I'm making here is that people need to be told what to watch. And now I'm not saying that I believe this. I'm just breaking down what I've actually just said. I'm suggesting that people need to be told this is what intelligent content looks like, because I think we can agree that clickbait, reactionism trash is not good content. I think it's reasonable to say that that is trash TV. Like Jerry Springer is trash TV. I think we can agree on this. Whether you like it or not is another question, but we can agree that it is not particularly intelligent viewership, right?
So is that now a requirement of making a video on YouTube?
Therein lies the issue.
Is that what media boils down to?
Yeah.
Only supplying some higher egalitarian view?
Yeah. I'm making that you need to have a high IQ to watch this argument. Now I'm aware that I'm now in the wrong here. So again, this is not necessarily what I believe. I'm exploring this discussion. I'm not saying I believe this. I'm just saying let's just see where this train of thought goes. And I believe that it, at the very least, I'm not. See, the problem is that it's easy for me to say you should watch the creator space because they are more intelligent. That's an easy thing for me to say. However, I think what I'm saying is not so much I think you should watch this, is that I think what you are currently promoting is objectively lesser content. I'm not saying that I make better content. I'm not saying that the makerspace is the one true content. But I think it's reasonable to say that trash television deserves less airtime.
Why? What makes it less valid?
Because it takes away the attention time. Because people have a limited attention span, which is not to say, I'm not accusing people of having a short attention span. I'm saying that people only have so many hours in the day to watch content. Because that's a problem that I have. I can only watch so much YouTube. I only have so much free time in the day to watch content. So I have a finite amount of attention to be consumed. And if I spend that watching trash content, that is less time I have spent watching something that is actually thoughtful and generates something that is thoughtful and teaches me something or expands my horizons somehow.
So that's the sole use of recorded media? Education?
I think that is the best use of media.
Therefore, film should not exist.
We're getting into the realms of...
Films for the purpose of education should exist. Films for the purpose of entertainment should not exist.
Yeah.
That is the now, black and white.
Yeah.
False dichotomy.
Yeah. That's
reduction.
Yeah. Okay.
But a case of.
Yeah. So
that's where it sounds like that argument is leading to.
Agreed.
To me.
Yeah.
And I feel I don't know. I feel if this is a difference as an individual, that I feel that individuals should be held accountable for all of their actions, irrespective of the path that was taken to get to those actions.
Yeah.
Because a person should be held accountable for what they do.
Yeah.
Personal responsibility is a high T-note for me.
Yeah. Okay. So two things. Number one, to address the black and white reduction that we've just made. My answer to films as I'm sorry I'm not paying attention to the chat, but conversation. This is why we started this podcast. We used to have these talks over Discord or TeamSpeak before that, and we said, hey, we should probably record this stuff. Maybe some people might find it interesting. So, the black and white approach you just made. Films as entertainment. I'm going to throw out an example of, say...
the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
That's exactly what the example I was about to give. The Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's basic entertainment. I think a lot of people agree that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is very entertaining, but it's just... saying that they're shovel movies and they're just shoveling them out, it seems unfair. They're very good films.
I feel to put them in a topic that we both have a vested interest in. It's similar to the reason for the existence of the Star Trek films.
Sure, yeah.
They were created because Paramount saw the money that Star Wars was making, so they made films.
Sure, yeah, okay.
So because that is in a wheelhouse that we both personally enjoy,
yeah,
I feel like we're less likely to disparage the medium.
Yeah.
Because we both like it.
Yeah, so Marvel Cinematic Universe or the Star Trek films that were made as entertainment. These are not educational films, they're entertainment. Now, I think they have value because I think you can watch a Marvel film and you can feel enriched. it evokes emotion. It doesn't matter if that emotion was manufactured. You know, the androids at Disney and Marvel have made these films specifically to evoke emotional response in the audience, to get them invested in them. In the same way that music and bands can be manufactured, and you can manufacture a song to be catchy but incredibly simple. Isn't it like pretty much 90% of the Beatles songs are like 3 chords or something like that? You know, it's not a tour de force of music.
A reduction on that again is a case of, so complexity is a requirement for it to be good.
Yeah. Now we're going off topic.
Oh no, absolutely. But following all of the threads out.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is the argument for people who like Dream Theater as a band. Dream Theater are complexity. Dream Theater and gent metal are prioritized complexity. You know, it's about how annoyingly exotic can you make your timing, and how annoyingly complex can you make your guitar solos to show technical proficiency of the instrument. Is that the measure of how good the music is? So going back to the film example, Marvel films, they're designed to evoke an emotion, but you can watch a Marvel film and you can feel emotionally enriched by the experience. This gives the film value, I believe. Now, if I say, okay, so what do I think doesn't give value? Well, let's say you've got... Now, the problem is I can't give examples because I don't watch the content that I'm disparaging, which in a way is a problem in itself. But I like to believe that there's a section out there of YouTube and of TikTok and of Snapchat or whatever, of people doing stupid reactionist content and stupid clickbaity content, where it's just like, you know, I threw a bucket of water on my sleeping roommate and he was so angry about it, you know. And it's just like, this is, I believe, trash. I mean, you know, I'm standing here wearing a shirt that says, "Stop making stupid people famous." I'm talking about people I'm talking about influencers who have an enormous audience and say, I like this diet pill because it makes my body really special, kind of thing. And this diet pill is garbage and should not be part of your diet in the slightest. Any medical doctor would agree with this. This is the kind of...
I like that we have to define medical doctor.
Am I wrong? You know.
So you're saying that a PhD in literature is less valid?
Shut up. So
I'll have you know, my level 4 MVQ in bollocks. I forgot the title of the actual course. The hairdressing. I've forgotten the actual title of the course.
So yes. the trash content that I'm referring to is stupid influencers who they're not masters of anything, man. The only thing they're masters of is a hustle. You know, they're not a specialist in anything. They don't have a high degree of knowledge of. They don't have a high degree of knowledge of something. Like, you know, if you can have a high degree of the fine arts. You can look at a painting and be like, oh, this is inspired by XYZ. It was probably made in this era, or I can tell it's modern from the way it's been, what material it's been painted on, the medium. This was probably painted in the 21st century, but it was inspired by something from the 1800s. You know, art, however subjective it is, you can have a high degree of knowledge about it, you know. And I mean, I don't care for military hardware. I don't care for military nerds. When people talk about tanks and guns, I don't care. But I can respect that there is a degree of knowledge to that. And there's a degree of engineering that went into those things. And that itself is knowledge. I guess what I'm saying is that when people are talking about purely, drama and gossip and stuff like that, this is content that has no value. It does not serve to enrich anyone in any meaningful way.
My counterpoint to that is still a case of
Yeah.
You're failing to demonstrate why that is a problem.
Okay. I'm not saying that... I'm not saying that no one is allowed to make that content. I'm not saying that content is not allowed to exist. But what I'm saying is I think it's bad that the YouTube algorithm and that social media seems to prioritize this content because it's what people are interested in. I think that social media and YouTube et al. Have the ability to say, you know what, this exists and you could learn stuff from it. We're just saying, kind of thing. Now, people should always have a choice. And I think also you were talking about prioritizing responsibility and choice and stuff like that. And I entirely agree. It is our choice to seek out what we think is better knowledge. We could say this is entirely irrelevant. The YouTube algorithm is irrelevant because if I think that creator channels have higher value, then it's my choice to go and watch them instead. And that's my choice to make. And if someone feels enriched by what I consider to be trash content, good for them. But I think it's a shame that the trash content, which I can make a strong argument for being trash content, I think it's a shame that is what seems to be prioritized by the algorithms that we see in social media today.
But what objective, non-human bias-based metric can you provide to then recommend or not recommend on that isn't watch time, likes, comments, return watchers?
I think my metric is... Yeah. Now,
but that's the problem.
Yeah.
If lots and lots of people are watching these videos, lots of people are liking the videos, lots of people are commenting on them saying that they like it, and that the creator should continue.
Yeah.
How is something that is not penalizing those people simply for being those people going to select against that?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I can make an argument where I can define what I believe to be trash content, and one of the numbers, one of the values that I place on that is what is the objective of this content. If the objective of the content is to educate people or otherwise make people feel, now here's a spicy one. If the objective of the content is to inspire people, there we go. I think I've managed to dodge a bullet. I nearly said if the objective of the content is to make people feel good about themselves, but good Lord, there's a double-edged sword, isn't there? If you make your metric make people feel good about themselves, oof. However, if the objective is to
inspire people to do what though?
Inspire people to better themselves. And but then of course now we're getting into the weeds of what is better. So we go round in circles, don't we?
It's still a case of we're failing to have a defined metric in which to measure against.
Okay, so that's
kind of the issue.
Let's pretend that I managed to justify it in words and make that metric. The second problem is how do you tune an algorithm to recognize that? And even if I can satisfy condition 1, I definitely can't satisfy condition 2.
Sure, absolutely.
So in which case I'm unable to refute.
I feel that I don't know. I feel like my counterpoint to that is Veritasium.
Okay, what are your considerations of Veritasium?
They are a channel that is focused around education.
Yeah.
Yet they are still raking in millions of views in their videos within the first few days of upload.
Yeah.
But they're an educational channel.
Yeah.
Which would infer that it satisfies your requirements, but it's also reaching millions of people.
Yeah.
Therefore, their content complies with the current algorithm, so the algorithm can't be broken if it's pushing educational content.
Yeah.
And people are watching it, and people are liking it.
Yeah. So my thoughts there
Therefore,
are, number
your
one,
content is wrong by that metric?
Yeah, maybe I'm whining because I'm getting penalised. So
if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm not offended by that. Yeah.
Because they are a demonstrator against that, the fact that they're still getting pushed.
Yeah. So my comments there. Number one, I think Veritasium is a good channel. I think that's quality content because their videos are well researched, well informed, and they seek to educate people. So that firstly, I consider Veritasium to be a good channel. Well done, Veritasium. You have my seal of approval. So
I'm sure
they value it. Yeah,
in the slightest.
Absolutely. So number two, Veritasium use clickbait in their titles. Now, do
they though?
Now, whether it is, there are multiple levels of clickbait. So, firstly, when I say they use clickbait in their titles, this is not to say that I disagree with their titles. This is the thing. There is an art to good clickbait. Now, there is, for example, if I title a video, here's an example. One of my most recent videos that I'm the most proud of is the Dell G5 laptop repair, where I did the thermal camera. It was an hour long. Did the thermal camera and all the rest of it. I had a choice when I was titling that video. The first choice was Dell G5 no power. I described the fault of the laptop, and I could have put Dell G5 laptop repair does not turn on or something like that. I chose to title that video How to Fix a Gaming Laptop because that was a clickbaity title that would gather much more attention than Dell G5 no power kind of thing. And that was my way of doing classy clickbait, where I titled it with the intention of getting more interest with a title.
Shouldn't that be the point of all titles of all media?
Yeah.
To make it certainly in the sense of educational media, where someone has not subscribed to the educational media to be educated, where you are attempting to fish for interest.
Yeah.
Surely with your educational media, the entire purpose of the title should be to garner that interest, to make people to want to watch the video.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you do not do that, you are actually doing the person's a disservice by limiting its reach.
Because also, by the argument of reducto absurdum, what is it?
Reducto ad absurdum.
There we go. We could say, well, in that case, your painting of the Fields of Elysium should be called Green Fields Oil Canvas. If we're saying you're not allowed to clickbait your titles, then that basically means that the Marvel film Endgame should have been called Everyone Dies. Or
no.
50% of the population dies, including the main characters.
No. The first one should.
Spoilers, by the way.
The first one should have been called Prelog 2.
Yeah.
The second one should have been called Now They Actually Die.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So yeah, okay, fair enough.
But my specific example is because this is what the videos are called.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going through the videos here. So we've got how imaginary numbers were invented. Sure, fair enough. I rented a helicopter to settle a physics debate. So, okay. So now, so this is the point where it's been the title has been phrased to ask a question while providing insufficient information. So the viewer will look at that and be like, why the hell would you do that? Now I have to click the video to find out because I don't actually know what this video is about. That's when I define it as clickbait. The answer that there is, I don't know what this video is about. All I know is that he's rented a helicopter. Mm-hmm. But then on the other hand, I'm being unfair because I could say, well, no, he has provided information. He said that this video is about a physics debate. He's presenting a controversial topic. So now the problem is, if he actually said what the controversial topic was, let's say the controversial topic was to settle the argument of insert controversial equation here, I got no idea what that equation is anyway. It wouldn't actually mean anything to me if he did put the equation in the title.
Yeah.
So therefore, there's no harm, no foul. But on the flip side, so then, okay, what if I did know what the equation was? But then on the flip side, I would look at that equation and be like, well, I know what that is. I don't need to watch this video because I know all about that equation. But then on the other hand, I might still be like, okay, but I'm interested to hear his take on it.
And also a case of now I have a physical proof.
Yeah. So
this is providing a physical proof.
I guess what I'm saying is that
I failed.
Yeah.
There you
go. I think he should put what the physics debate is in the title anyway, because at that point, if I did know what that physics debate was, I'd be like, yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm interested to hear your take on this, and I'm more accepting because you've not tried to conceal your true intent from me. Because if the physics debate is P does not equal NP, I don't fucking understand that anyway. I'm not going to watch the video. I'd like him to put that. I'd like to know in advance if this video is about P does not equal NP, because I don't understand that.
Oh, it's fine. Don't worry. You can watch this one then about 3x plus 1.
Oh, there you go. He's put that. Yeah, okay. That's in the thumbnail. Yeah, the simplest math problem no one can solve. 3x plus 1.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's fine. Yeah. I tell you what, I think Veritasium has got it down to a fine art. I would like him to put it in the thumbnail, because if we give another example, I'm going to give another example. I'm going to give...
Yeah, it's the helicopter rope riddle. Literally says right there in the thumbnail.
Well, it's a helicopter with an arrow pointing at the rope.
Yeah, and the words say helicopter rope riddle.
Oh, it does.
The words, the text, the English language.
I was looking at the helicopter, not the big text that said helicopter rope riddle.
And on that note, we're going home.
I'm cell-phoning here.
On that note, we're going home. Good night.
You know what? Before we finish up, because we are about to hit 3 hours, it is time to wrap up. The last thing I'll say, I'll give a different... Veritasium is doing it right. You know what?
Yeah, absolutely.
Veritasium is doing it right.
I think there is a fabulous video that he's done called Clickbait is Unreasonably Effective.
Yeah.
And he actually goes through and explains so much of the stuff with printouts of his own YouTube analytics.
Yeah. You know what? Fair play. Veritasium is doing it right.
Yeah, and I feel like... they are giving a lot of things for you to learn from.
Yeah.
With this.
I'm going to try a different example here, because I think it's going to not... I think... See, it's not that I want to be proven right here, because there are some channels that are doing it right and some channels that are doing it wrong. I'm sure there's a channel out there that is horrendously clickbait. Case in point, there was one channel I watched where it was skateboard stunts, and the thumbnail was a skateboarder on a massive heckin' ramp, and I'm like, oh man, I want to see that. The video wasn't the thumbnail, the picture from the thumbnail, it wasn't even in the video. There was no skateboard. Could you unlock it again, please? There was no skateboarder on a massive heckin' ramp.
I thought you were going to say there was no skateboard. No. Skateboard was a lie.
The point is, I got heckin' robbed. So, however, I'm going to type in Jay's 2 cents, because Jay does...
I stopped watching him about a year and a half ago.
Why?
Because I went...
You're just not interested in his content? Or...
Because I went... Your content is here. I'm looking for here.
Okay, so
I want
intellectual level?
way more technical.
Yeah, okay.
I want way more technical content than you are aiming to make.
Yeah, okay.
Therefore, I'm not your intended intended audience.
The important thing there is you didn't watch him because you thought his content was bad. You stopped watching him because his content was not relevant to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking through his videos, and so there's one here. Second video, it's okay. So most recent video, this is what PC Heaven looks like. It's an advert for Micro Center, I think. So fine, whatever. Next video, why can't more PC cases be like this? And the thumbnail says it's for the Lianli Q58. But the thing is, the thumbnail doesn't show the thumbnail doesn't show what the case looks like. I don't know what kind of case this is. It just says Lianli Q58 with 2 cardboard boxes in the thumbnail. So he may as well have blurred the case in the thumbnail for all that's worth. And the title, why can't more PC cases be like this, does not tell me what kind of case it is. I'm like what is the answer to that? Now, of course, that's the hook. That's what makes me want to click on that video, because I'm like, well, I don't know, what is the Q58 like and why should I care about it? That's the hook that should make me click on the video. But for me, I'm just like, well, what is it? Is it small? Is it clever? Is it high performance? Like, if you put it in the title, why can't this PC case is really small, for example? I'd be like, that's interesting. How have they made it small? I want to know more. Or if they've said, this PC case has ridiculously high airflow, I'd be like, how high? I want to see that. How low are those temperatures? And he could have put a blurred graph in the thumbnail, showing really low with the number blurred out, and it'd be like, okay, I'll find out how low your numbers are. Talk dirty to me, Jay.
Please don't, Jay. Please no. Do not phone me up. Do not whisper sweet nothings in my ear at 4 a.m. But this is not an invitation. This is not consent.
I guess I dislike it when there is a hook without telling me why I should care about the hook. But this is personal preference, though. That's the problem. I'm expressing my personal take on this, not an objective reason why this is good or bad.
I don't like his entire channel because I don't think any of it is in depth enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Therefore, yeah. See, I do not consume his content at all.
Perhaps I'm not finding the right things here. So like, where was it? RWL 2012 just said, it's like those "It's Finally Happened" titles. What's finally happened? Exactly that. See, again, that's the hook. You click on the video because you're like, all right, what finally happened? But it's just like, if he had just said, I moved to a new office, I'd know whether I'm interested in that or not. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm interested in seeing your new office. Or I'd be like, I don't care about that, and skip the video. I think what I'm saying is, I want the video to give me enough information to tell me if I care or not. Because the problem is, if I click on that video and I see the first 30 seconds that reveals to me that it's not something I care about, I'm going to close the tab. I'm going to click off the video, and that is, what is it? A bounce back rate or something like that? Or there's a term for this when you click on the video and then immediately leave. And because obviously that technically is a view, but not really. That's an impression, not a view. Someone did open the video, but they didn't actually watch it. That's the difference between an impression and a view. Not on YouTube. That's wrong. Whatever. The bounce rate is high. Whereas if you tell me what the video is in that title, like, you can tell me you have something that's really good, but not tell me how good it is, because that's a hook. Because I will click on a video to find out how good it is, but I want to know what the video is about.
I guess this demonstrates a very large difference in the way that we consume media.
Yeah.
Because I watch everything from a very small number of channels.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel you selectively watch stuff from a much larger number of channels.
That sounds reasonable, yeah. Yeah. I think you might be right there, because I don't watch every video that channels that I follow put out, per se. And in fact, the vast majority of the channels that I follow, I probably watch about 50% of their videos. And there are quite a few channels where it's even lower than that. I might watch very few of their videos. There's just one every now and then where I'm just like, yeah, I'm interested, But I do follow them because there is that video every now and then that I'm just like, yeah, I'm on board.
If I watch less than, I don't know, say a arbitrary cutoff of 80% of a channel's videos. If I'm only watching 80% of a channel's videos, I'll unsubscribe and stop watching all of their videos.
Yeah. Question: was there actually any news at the start of this stream? Kind of. We talked about Alder Lake, and we talked about the YouTube removing the dislike button, which is how we got into this conversation. But if you came here for quality content, you're on the wrong channel. So I
hold on a minute.
Sorry, not
sorry. What was that about? If you were here for quality content and this is not quality content, therefore this should not get pushed by your almighty algorithm.
No, that's why it's on the second channel. Checkmate, fucker.
Right. So what you're saying is that everyone who is here is wrong. I don't think that's a good look for your audience.
And on that bombshell, it's time to go, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. No, seriously, that's the end of the stream. I don't know.
Exactly. This channel is for those who want to see someone whose opinion matters because they have a large audience and a YouTube channel.
Oh, boy. I don't know. I don't know what the conclusion is. There's my opinions. Sound off in the comments about what you thought about what I said, because that increases my engagement.
Absolutely. It's fine. All you need to do is comment on this video. Just comment fake 73 times.
And if you liked the video, click that like button because that helps me out.
Absolutely.
And subscribe. I'm going now. Goodbye, everyone.
Very well. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good day.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll be back next week. Are we doing the overclocking video next week? Probably. As long as there's a motherboard on its way to the shop, and if that shows up, we're going to do some more overclocking next week. The freezer's coming out again. I know some of you don't like it, but whatever. That's what we're doing. If you don't care about overclocking, then don't tune in next week. We've got a binned i7 8700K, which apparently should be a stonking good overclocker, and we should have a pretty decent motherboard to put it in as well. Like, no, seriously, actually a good motherboard. So we might actually pull some actually good numbers.
Indeed.
So yeah, we're going to do that next week, I think. So yeah, thanks everyone. I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. And
excellent.
Toodaloos. Yeah, that's it.
Bye.
I'm gonna hit stop streaming now. I've got to find.
Where's YouTube Studio going?
It's over there. There we go. End stream.
Goodbye.
Thanks all. Bye.